Welcome to Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and welcome to a night that none of us will ever forget. September 6, 1995. The people in Baltimore have had the privilege of watching Cal Ripken Jr. through the years. Tonight, the world peeks in as the home folks openly congratulate their hero for reaching the unreachable star. Almost as famous as baseball's legends are their magical numbers. The Babe's 60 and 714. DiMaggio's 56, Cobb's 41.91, Gehrig's 21.30. All of them deemed standards beyond reach. But mere numbers never deterred Maris, never daunted Aaron, and never detoured Rose. Tonight, even the Iron Horse will be surpassed as Cal Ripken walks with the baseball gods. Three things are certain: death, taxes, and Cal Ripken Jr. But Orioles fans have known this about their favorite son for a long, long time. Last night was magical as Ripken and Gehrig stood together at 21:30. Even the new Iron Man was emotional. Then followed a script that would never even be authored in Hollywood as Cal punctuated a Baltimore win with a sixth-inning home run. The Orioles fittingly won 8-0. You have to wonder if last night he was just warming up. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman. We are so glad to have you with us, as it truly is our privilege at ESPN to be here ourselves. There are few instances when you know that you'll witness history at the ballpark, but this is one of them. 2,131 consecutive games for Cal Ripken. What a celebration. But we celebrate much more than just the major record. We celebrate baseball the way it hasn't been celebrated for quite a while. And we celebrate it the old-fashioned way. Hometown boy playing for his hometown team in front of his hometown fans. We celebrate a work ethic that used to be a staple for baseball. And if you think about it, a work ethic that helped build America. You get up, you put in a hard day's work, and you go home to your family. Cal hasn't called in sick for 13 and a half years. Yet his job involves standing perilously close to 90-mile-an-hour fastballs and upturned spikes on every play in the middle of the diamond. And he hasn't flinched. Now, we don't mean to put all this on Cal's shoulders, but 2,131 straight games tells us he can handle the weight. Tonight, we applaud long and loud, as you can hear. I spoke with the man of the hour a short while ago. Cal, you think you might get in tonight?
I certainly hope so. I was kidding last night when I said I was thinking about taking a day off, of course, but God, this thing's exhausting.
You come to the park today. It can't just be like every other drive or trip to the ballpark, can it?
In some ways it is, because you do it every single day, but the last 2 weeks have been very different. And I think last night, if I was to describe last night, it was like one of those out-of-body experiences, the kind that you have when you witness the birth of your child, or actually even when you get married. You know, it seems like it's not happening to you. And you know, today kind of bleeded in from last night, and it's the same feeling today. Doesn't seem like it's happening to me.
Well, when they unfurled 21:30 on the warehouse, I mean, that was quite an emotional moment, obviously, for you. Now, tonight, any thoughts going through your mind on what that moment might be like when 2-1-3-1 appears?
I'm going to try to keep it out of my mind as best I can until that moment. You know, that's a very powerful moment. You know, I thought it was really neat when they started off 2 weeks ago, I think, and it kind of built some momentum. But as it's gotten closer, the ovations have gotten louder. The emotion within those ovations have gotten more powerful. So, yeah, I'd rather not think about it until it gets here.
Enjoy yourself. We might as well get rid of the suspense right away. Not only has he penciled it in, but Baltimore manager Phil Ripken has penned in the name Cal Ripken Jr., shortstop, batting fifth. This just in. Hi, everybody. Along with me is Buck Martinez, as always on Wednesday night. And Buck, that name Ripken on an Oriole lineup card, they've been seeing that around here even before Cal was a member of the Orioles.
Well, Chris, Cal Ripken Jr. is around this ball club his whole life. His father was a minor league catcher, became a minor league manager, and eventually became a coach and manager right here in Baltimore. And even though the job took his father away from his son, the two had a common bond. That bond was baseball. And it was through this bond that his father was able to give his son a code to live and work by. That code was practice endlessly, work hard, and do the job right. that code has been the foundation for Cal Ripken's streak. Any father that has ever played a game of catch with his son will have a sense of what Cal Ripken Sr. is feeling here tonight as his son, Cal Ripken Jr., breaks Lou Gehrig's record.
Cal Sr. and Cal Jr. as the Orioles get set to take the field, and you have a clue who just might lead them on tonight.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we welcome the very talented Bruce Hornsby and Branford Marcellus, who will honor our nation with their Grammy-winning rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Well, if you weren't sure that this was a special night in Baltimore, I think you now have a clue. In a few moments, there's Cal's wife, Kelly, and their two children, Rachel and Ryan. And Rachel and Ryan, 5-year-old Rachel, first day of kindergarten today, and 2-year-old son Ryan will throw out tonight's first pitches.
Special young people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rachel and Ryan Ripken.
Do they say when?
Thank you.
Night for all ages, Buck. Literally. Senior, junior, his children. Brother Billy will be here. It's already been a big day for Cal because it was Ray. There's Cal Sr., manager, longtime coach in the organization. And there's Billy right there getting a night off from AAA Buffalo. He's in the playoffs with the Indians AAA Farm Club, and night off, of course, doesn't apply to this man, but Billy played so long here in Baltimore, 6.5 seasons. But Cal's daughter Rachel, first day of kindergarten today, and he went to bed at 3 o'clock last night, Cal told me, and he said we figured we'd be out of the house by 8. First day of kindergarten, everything. We didn't wake up till 5 of 8. It was a scramble. We got her to school. I went back home to lie down. I woke up at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah,
I think he's a little more awake now.
He deserves to sleep in a little bit today.
Oh, by the way, the California Angels are playing the Baltimore Orioles tonight, and this is a big game for the Angels, who have really gone into a tailspin and now only lead by 5.5 over Seattle in the AL West. Tony Phillips leads off at third. Jim Mr. Edmonds is at center field. Tim Sockeye Salmon is in right. The venerable Charles Theodore Davis is the DH. J.T. Snow at first. Garrett Anderson at left. The wonder dog Rex Hudler is at second base. George Fabregas is the catcher. Damien It Don't Come Eastley is the shortstop. And they'll be facing the ace of the Baltimore Orioles, looking to become the first 16-game winner in the American League, Mike Mussina.
Well, Mike Mussina's really been on a roll. In his last 14 starts, he's 10-3 with a 2.48 ERA. Look at his strikeouts. He's outstanding, got good control. Fastball, knuckle curveball, and a tremendous changeup. Last time he faced the California Angels, he shut them out. 9 innings, 5 hits, struck out 11 as he beat them 4-0 out in Anaheim. He said he feels a special honor to go to the mound tonight on this very historic day.
Now, I talked with him for a while before the game, Buck, and I said, are you going to approach this as a World Series or a playoff game or something like that? He said, no, I'm going to approach this to have some fun tonight. I'm not going to try and throw the ball on the screen. I'm not going to do anything I'm not supposed to do. And he said that he looked at the rotation about 4 days before the All-Star break, knew when he wasn't selected to the All-Star game that he would start the night after the All-Star game. And he figured out after that, and he went to pitching coach Mike Flanagan and said, you know what? Everything's on target. I'm there for September 6th. He had this one scoped in early July.
Well, anybody on this team wants to be on the field tonight, and Mike Mussina deserves the honor. He's been their horse all year long. He won 8 straight decisions back in the end of June into August, and he has really been on a roll. As Chris mentioned, he's got a chance to become the American League's first 16-game winner. Third start against the Angels this year.
If you're trying to figure out when does 2,130 consecutive games played by Cal Ripken become 2,131, there are 2 checkpoints. One will come at the end of this half of the inning. We'll explain that in a moment. But theoretically, Cal is at short. If he leaves the game before he plays a full half inning of defense, let's say he gets injured, and he perished the thought, obviously, but he never comes to the plate, it does not count in the consecutive playing streak rule 1024C. The one that everyone is more familiar with, of course, is the team behind must bat 5 times. Theoretically, if there's rain in the area, which there is not, in the 3rd or 4th inning, the game does not become official. This does not count as him having played. So theoretically, Buck, there are 2 moments of suspense, although it's not quite like waiting for a home run. We're going to go on a limb. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You can bet on that.
Skied by Tony Phillips. There's room for Jeff Houston, although we should add today there's not as much room as usual And we'll explain that in a moment, that there are 260 special seats that have been built out where the tarps normally are, $5,000 a piece, towards a grant to go to Johns Hopkins University. All were sold. A $1 million grant towards the defeat, research of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And the seats are just here tonight. But the good thing is, Buck, that those who are sitting in the seats get to take the seats home. Maybe they don't leave the park with them tonight, but they get to have the seat in their as part of their lawn furniture. And they know that they're doing something very significant, trying to beat a crippling disease, one that felled Lou Gehrig back in 1941, 17 days shy of his 38th birthday. This is Jim Edmonds. You want to see a guy, Buck, that hits well to the opposite field? I think we have our man.
Well, Jim Edmonds is having some problems right now with his back, and you can see that swing was very tentative. He was actually out of the lineup a couple of days, and he was on the chair about 3 weeks ago, but the back problems have really cut down his swing. Got off to a reasonably slow start and then really turned it on in June. You can see his numbers in August reflecting that back problem. Here's one of the guys that has really benefited from Rod Carew. He has really taken Carew's philosophy to the plate. Take what the pitcher will give to you. If he pitches you away, take it that way. Carew's always on the top step of that dugout trying to keep an eye on his hitters and make sure that they don't fall into any bad habits.
Well, Edmonds is fourth in the league in RBIs in 97, tied for second in runs scored with 105. It seems like every one of his 30 home runs, or 3/4 of them, go to left field. That's because he decided that he had to drive through the ball rather than underspin it, backspin it. He thought he was getting more loft on it. He worked hard in the offseason just to drive through it, and a lot of singles and doubles then became 380-foot home runs to the opposite field. You saw Rod Carew. He knows what a milestone night is like in baseball, does he not, Buck? This one is going to right center field. Back goes Bonilla. Long run for Bobby Bowe. Makes the catch 2 steps against the wall. So a long fly ball, but they're 2 out.
Well, 2 down here in the top half of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Baltimore Orioles defensively. In the outfield, Smith, Anderson, Bonilla. Jeff Houston gets a start at third. Of course, Cal Ripken is the shortstop. Manny Alexander at second. Paul Merrow at first, and Chris Hoyles behind the plate. 2,104 consecutive games at shortstop for Cal Ripken. One thing that's constant in Baltimore's defense, and the consistency of that man right there has been a trademark of Oriole baseball over the last 13.5 seasons.
So with 2 out, Machina will work to Tim Sockeye Salmon, the right fielder. 31 homers, 88 RBIs, 328. All these numbers are so impressive for the Angels, although they've really gone into the tailspin, which has seen them lose 10 of their last 11 games. They once were the leading run scoring team in the American League by about 50, but now their 702 runs is only 5 ahead of Cleveland, 697. You think he's seen an Oriole game or two, Buck?
You betcha he's seen an Oriole game or two. That's Earl Weaver. You see the years that he managed great championship ball clubs. He'll be with us
next inning
and relate some stories about Cal Ripken Jr.
I don't think we have a week. We need a week to relate some stories with Earl. We're going to have a lot of guests tonight. Hit to center field. Brady Anderson. It's a bad jump, and it now goes way back. Makes the leap.
Well, I don't think
but does not get it. Brady wasn't letting anybody know. Tim Salmon, on a ball that just kept sailing, has given the Angels a 1-0 lead.
Boy, Tim Salmon got a hold of that breaking ball from Mike Messina. It was a knuckle curveball, and Brady Anderson had made up his mind he was going to catch this thing. Salmon hits his 32nd home run on a Mike Messina knuckle curveball. Stayed up a bit, about knee-high outside. Look at the determination on Brady Anderson. He actually had the ball in his glove, and then the collision with the wall forces it out of the glove. What a tremendous effort by Brady Anderson. You don't think these Orioles are a little extra pumped up tonight?
Well, last night it was as if they were saying to Cal, we've been meaning to do this for you all year. Brady had 2 homers and a double last night. And we saw last night as well, Buck, the ball just keeps sailing to center and to left center. And I didn't think Brady thought it would go that far. He seemed to hesitate a step. But Salmon with home run number 32, and the Angels have a rare lead. Off-speed pitch to Chili Davis. He's switch hitting Chili Davis, and that misses for a ball. Until the 5th inning Monday night, the Angels had not led for 75 consecutive innings. They win the game Monday night. Of course, they were shut out last night, so leads even by 1 run have been few and far between the last couple of weeks.
Well, there's the pitch Messina is going to have to use to be effective against the Angels. That was a great changeup. And sometimes in the first inning, I know Messina said he's just going to go out and have fun. The adrenaline is pumping so much. A pitcher that needs a finesse pitch like a changeup will overthrow that pitch, and it won't be effective early.
Messina misses inside to Chili Davis, and just a few of us call him by his real name, Charles Theodore Davis.
I'll stick to Chili.
They all have those Chili Dog T-shirts they wear under their uniforms.
There's a good fastball right in on his hands. When Messina gets on a roll, he can pound good left-handed hitters like Chili Davis inside with that fastball and try to buy some of the outside part of the plate. So he's in his 14th Major League season, trying to lead the Angels to the postseason.
Second tour of duty with California, or started in the 80s with the Giants. Oh, and he's punched out by home plate umpire Larry Barnett. So Davis strikes out, but Tim Salmon solves Mike Mussina for a long home run to center, despite a Ripkenian effort by Brady Anderson. We'll be back.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Antonio Banderas is so hot, amazingly hot.
Best action I've seen since Pulp Fiction.
It's cool, I say. It's romantic.
One of a kind.
He can shoot me full of lead anytime.
Antonio makes me think of sex.
Desperado, rated R, at theaters now.
Remember this date, fans. May 2nd, 1939. Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, has just taken himself out of the Yankee lineup for the first time in 14 seasons. 2,130 consecutive games, a record that will stand as long as young men play the game of baseball.
This ESPN Baseball Special is brought to you by Pizza Hut. You'll love the stuff we're made of. (2,130 consecutive games for Cal Ripken Jr.) Midway through this one, it'll be 2-1-3-1, and the record that everyone thought would forever stand will be broken 56 years after Lou Gehrig set it in 1939. One of the greatest to ever play the game, the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. He, I'm sure, would be applauding the last 13 and a half years by Cal Ripken. Here's the Oriole lineup, the rest of which you didn't see Phil Regan pencil in. Brady Anderson at center field, Manny Alexander at second base, Rafael Emerson Lake and Palmeiro is at first base, Bobby Bonilla hitting cleanup in right field. Cal against the righty pitcher will bat fifth tonight. Harold Growing Baines the DH, Chris Hoyles the catcher, Jeff Hewson is at third base, the youngster Mark Smith is in left field, and they will go against the lone righty starter on this California Angels staff, the one-time Chicago Cub Sean Bosky.
Sean Bosky goes to the mound tonight for Marcel Latchman, making his 15th start of the season. Just the second time he started since coming off the disabled list. He had an inflamed elbow, and that shut him down. Bosky has a fastball, curveball, slider, and a straight changeup. He doesn't have the velocity of Mussina, but he has to pitch the similar style of Mussina, working the corners with his fastball, trying to set up the off-speed pitches.
So he almost had a rare opportunity of how often do you see it, a guy that makes a great play in the field leads off. Brady almost made a circus catch, but he'll lead off anyway. We're not going to take it away from him. Brady probably Ripken's closest friend on the Orioles right now, this team. And Brady Anderson will look at strike one from Sean Bosky. He's the second Of all the teammates that Cal has had, Brady Anderson has played the second most games with Cal. This is number 881 during Cal's streak. The only man who have played more is Eddie Murray, 1,046. So really, you don't think of Brady Anderson that way, but he's been the next most constant thing here with the Orioles besides Cal Ripken.
Well, there's been a lot of turnover here in Baltimore as they're trying to find a combination that will lead them back to the postseason. They thought that this was going to be their year, and they went out and added some muscle to the lineup by picking up Bobby Bonilla.
Bosky ahead 0-2 to Brady Anderson to lead off the Baltimore first, and that's high and inside. Brady will be one of the speakers. There will not be many afterwards. It's supposed to be an emotional night tonight. Cal will address, among others, and we will stay right here. So it's more than just making it official when they unfurl the number in the 5th or top of the 6th. Stay with us for wall-to-wall coverage. It was magical here last night. That's up top and inside. It's 2-2. Brady Anderson actually was born here in Maryland, Silver Spring, Maryland. Moved out west at a young age to Carlsbad, but has Maryland blood. Not quite as much as Cal does, but that's what it says. And there's Bruce Hornsby. Branford Marsalis and Bruce Hornsby with a stirring rendition of the national anthem. They were out here working it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He was excited. He's a big sports fan, big baseball fan. And of course, we joked that the count is 3-2 that whereas Gehrig's record falls tonight, his does not. Bruce Rogers Hornsby's single season batting average of .424. Don't think that's going to be easy to get.
It'll be intact.
Brady gets under this one. Will there be enough room for J.T. Snow? 1 out. Snow is a very good fielding first baseman, one of the best in the league. As the Angels of the division leaders are probably the best defensive team, Buck, of the 3.
Well, they were able to really turn that defense into a league-leading effort early on. It's Anderson, Edmonds, and Salmon in the outfield. The veteran Tony Phillips at third. Damon Easley is the shortstop for the time being. This is his 23rd start at shortstop. Remember, Gary DiSarcina was the regular shortstop, and he has been knocked out with a ruptured tendon ligament in his left thumb. There you see DiSarcina. And this is the most difficult thing he's had to do in his entire career. Sit by and watch his Angel team struggle.
He's one of the Angels that made the All-Star team. And they had to shuffle up the defense, as you mentioned. Alexander with good speed. Phillips shading him in on the grass at third base. We're bottom of the 1st. Cal Ripken hits 5th tonight against the righty, so he may or may not come up here in the 1st inning.
See what he was talking about on that bench. He was talking breaking ball or changeup, trying to get into Bosky's mind already, and that has been a pattern for Ripken throughout his career. He never wastes a moment on the playing field, whether it's in the dugout or on the field. He's always observing something, trying to gain an edge.
And it's 1-2. Take the bat. Larry Barnett is working the plate tonight, the veteran umpire. He's worked World Series, but he said that he's never experienced anything like that, like he's experiencing tonight. Greg Kosk is at first base. Dan Morrison at second. Al Clark is the umpire at third. And Alexander will sit down. There are 2 outs.
Bosky finally got to the breaking ball right there, and he makes quick work of Manny Alexander. See Fabregas set up on the outside, and Sean Bosky delivers that slider down and away for the strikeout. Off the plate, it's established the fastball inside and then goes to the outside corner to get Alexander.
This is Rafael Emerson Lake in Palmero, who has hit 10 home runs in about the last 3.5 weeks. He's 32, among the league leaders. Began the day 3 shy of Albert Bell and 1 shy of Mo Vaughn and Frank Thomas in the American League. Bosky working him inside.
Well, the object pitching to Palmeiro is trying to get him to open up. And because of that, Bosky has pounded him inside with fastballs, and he hopes that Palmeiro will try to commit inside, and then Bosky can go to the outside part of the plate.
And Sean Bosky, well, nobody's been in many situations like this, but this is quite a spot for Sean Bosky in his 6th major league season, 28 years of age, 23 and 36 coming into the season. So this is a little bit of a tight spot. But you know what, Marcel Laxman and all the Yankees, even though they've been in the tailspin and everything, they're hoping this whole experience, this whole 3-game series here, will help the Angels maybe get out of their funk a little bit and maybe realize what they might be headed toward in October if they right themselves. Sweet swing by Palmeiro. Back it goes. Back. Gone. We told you that Rafael Palmeiro's been swinging a hot bat for the last 3.5 weeks. Make it 11 during that span. The number 3 hitter for each team has hit a solo home run in the first. We are tied at 1.
Well, Bosky never got ahead in the at-bat, and it really cost him as he had to come in after falling behind to Palmeiro.
Bobby Bonilla up, and guess who's on deck?
Well, if he's going to call it stay out there, there's Palmeiro on the bench with a smile after hitting his 33rd home run to tie the game up here in the bottom of the first inning. This is definitely a hitter's ballpark.
Good pitch that Bonilla went fishing for, and just as Messina did after giving up a home run, he registered a strikeout. So does Bosky. We've played one. We're knotted at 1.
This Major League Baseball game on ESPN is sponsored locally by the Iowa Lottery, Dave Ostrom Mitsubishi, Magnum Muffler, and the Downtown Auto Dealers.
No one does it better than the Downtown Auto Dealers. 8 dealers conveniently located downtown. For your next vehicle, see the Downtown Auto Dealers.
Yes! When you need to buy a car, yes! Come from north, south, east, or west, say yes, because downtown is the best. Yes, 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 yes!
It's back, and for 4 weeks, you'll have a chance to double all your Powerball prizes except the jackpot with the Powerball Doubler. Hi, I'm Mike Pace. Here's how Powerball Doubler works. Just purchase at least 5 Powerball plays on a single ticket for a drawing held during this promotion, and you're eligible for that drawing. After the regular Powerball drawing, another ball will be drawn from the special Powerball Doubler machine. If you win a Powerball prize and the purple ball is also drawn, your prize doubles. All prizes except the jackpot will double at least once during this promotion. So play Powerball Doubler.
There was no meeting that you were going to be a shortstop or I'm going to make the move or I'm thinking about making the move. It was just boom, you're going to be a shortstop. And so I took a few ground balls, and then Earl called me in, and I think it was his way of making me relax a little bit. He just said, if a ground ball's hit to you, I want you to catch it, get a good grip on the ball, take your time, and make a good throw to first base. If he's safe, he's only on first base. He's not on second. Which his way of saying, don't make any foolish errors. Don't try to do more than you're capable of doing. And if you just do what you're capable of doing, then everything will be fine.
Well, this is Earl Weaver with us, so it's your fault, huh? That's why he's at shortstop?
Well, that's why he's at shortstop, but what he's accomplished, he would have accomplished a lot easier at third base. I just made it harder for the man. But I'll tell you this, he hadn't played shortstop in 2.5 years. He went out there that night, and it was all over.
You knew right away, huh?
Well, we had watched him as a kid. And his dad bring him out to the ballpark. I hit him ground balls. His dad hit him ground balls, and both of us knew that he's a born shortstop.
Earl Weaver, the longtime manager of the Baltimore Orioles, joins us on this festive night as we watch J.T. Snow lead it off for the Angels in a 1-1 game in the second inning. When you say you watched him as a kid, I mean, you watched him as a 6- and 7-year-old kid, didn't you?
Well, yeah. His father played for me the year that Cal was born. He was a catcher in the Baltimore organization. But, no, the dad had him out there when he was 13, 14, 15 years old and hit him ground balls. And I'm born and raised in St. Louis and watched Marty Marion play. I don't guess too many people remember Marty Marion. But he was a 6'4", 6'5" shortstop that just glided. And that's what Cal reminded me of.
Earl, when you think about Cal Ripken making that move, there was some resistance within the organization to make that move, wasn't there?
Yes, there was. We had a young prospect. Well, wasn't real young. We signed him out of college, but a fellow by the name of Bobby Bonner. But good ball player at the AAA level, real good ball player, but just leveled off, I guess, at the major league level. And we were dropping games. Lack of defense, lack of unity on the field, and even though Cal was a rookie, he's a guy I wanted out there in the middle of the infield to settle everything down because he grew up, you know, as a baseball person with his father, you know, having him at the park every day.
What are you feeling tonight, Earl, knowing Cal from really the time he was born and knowing his parents and knowing with him really being family, and you're seeing this scene tonight? Are you overwhelmed last night?
Overwhelmed. You know, what is happening just couldn't happen, and here I am, the guy that had him as a rookie ball player. Well, you know, he'd have been around anyway, no matter who had him, but I had him as a rookie ball player, and I'm proud of that. Who would ever dream that anybody could play 2,131 games? I know Lou played 2,130. So it can be accomplished, but it's just overwhelming, mind-boggling.
In 1982, when he really started the streak, he had a tough time at the start. And he talks about you talking to him every day about his hitting. What did you tell him about his hitting?
Well, you know, I had broken in a lot of rookies at Baltimore, and some of them struggled, and some of them didn't have to. But Cal was still a young man, very young man, with 3.5 years of minor league experience, something like 20, 21 years old. And you just don't come in and eat up the American League or the National League, naturally, for that matter. But here was a guy that just took time. I know that Mickey Mantle came up with the Yankees and was sent back to Kansas City. Willie Mays went something like 0 for 40 or something when he first got to the big leagues, and Leo DeRocher stayed with him. So it wasn't hard to stay with a guy that's out there that was really helping me defensively anyway. The bat would come, and the bat has come, and he's accomplished it all.
Count remains full to J.T. Snow, who's the leadoff batter in the top of the second here on magical night at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Earl Weaver joining Chris Berman and Buck Martinez. This is hit to center field, but this time Brady won't have to crash into a wall. And he makes the catch, and there's one out, and Garrett Anderson is coming out. Now, after you move him to short, Earl, here you are. I like the idea that might foul up the kid, but I'm not going to let it happen, but I'd like to at least keep it through the weekend. It's a long weekend, 13.5-year weekend.
You're not kidding. I was fighting the organization, and I had made up my mind. Maybe Cal, and there were a lot of people within that didn't think that Cal could do it. But I wanted to satisfy myself. I didn't know if it was going to last a week. I didn't know if it was going to last a month. I certainly didn't know it was going to last 13 or 14 years. But he proved to everybody he was Rookie of the Year that year and most valuable player in the American League the following year.
For those that didn't see it last night, Earl, you threw out the first pitch and then immediately went and asked for Cal's autograph, which was classic.
Well, can you imagine what that poor man is going through? I mean, if you're on the team, every day you walk in, you know, you've got requests from your family, you got requests from your children. Would you get Cal to sign this? Would you get Cal to sign that? I thought, I've got the perfect opportunity right out here by myself. And my wife made me take the pen, and I couldn't have went back to the stands without it.
2 out as Anderson flies to left. Rex Hudler, the second baseman, coming up.
Harold, when I came in the big leagues in 1969, your team was the epitome of class in a professional ball club, and I think Cal Ripken was able to take that demeanor with him. Do you think that exposure to those Brooks Robinsons and Frank Robinsons and Mark Belangers had a lot to do with that?
No doubt about it. When you walked in that clubhouse, you know, and we had won 109, 108, but everybody was out there to do their job. And let's not forget the father, you know, a work ethic and really a strict person in family life. Cal was brought up the right way, but when you walk in that clubhouse and see the way Brooks Robinson acted and Frank and, you know, big superstars, and they're shaking hands and acting polite and doing what has to be done, it certainly had an influence. I believe it did.
Wow, there was so many Oriole teams that I think, Earl, that everybody around America felt that they knew so well. You had some of those stars you talked about, and you were in so many World Series, and some of the series you thought you'd lose, you won, and a couple of the ones you thought you'd win, you'd lose. Sometimes it works that way.
In 1969, the New York Mets was a surprise team. But if you go back today, 2 of those pitchers that got us are in the Hall of Fame, Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver. So
Koosman wasn't too bad.
No, Koosman was very good. So, you know, it wasn't quite as much of an upset as everybody thought.
Rex Hudler fouls it back. It's 1-2 with 2 outs, and we should remind everyone that Cal will lead off the Orioles' second.
Well, you mentioned his dad, and I can remember watching Cal Sr. throw batting practice tirelessly out there and always hitting ground balls, and he was demanding, too. He didn't want guys to go about it with anything less than 100%.
No, he was a great coach. I had a great coaching staff and stayed right on everybody. But we had some leaders on that team that if the young guys come up and didn't perform, there were guys that were going to tell them about it. Look, we're here to win some ball games, and that's what we go out on that field for. Well, Cal had that built into him already anyway, but he just couldn't wait to play baseball. He loves to play baseball. Didn't we all love to play?
Boy, that's for sure, huh? That's what we were supposed to do.
Count is 2-2. When you in '82, and then you left after that magical season, you almost got there. You left for a couple of years. You came back. By that time, Cal had won an MVP already, and they'd won a World Series. Was he not a different player, but a different guy? Could he matured like maybe 10 years in those 3 that you were away?
Well, you know, a guy like Brooks and Frank Robinson and Cal, you don't need to say 10 words to him all year. You know, and Eddie Murray. They come in, they do their job. They put on that uniform and go out there. Not much instruction. When they make a mistake, the other ball players expect you to say something to them. So naturally, you go down and just, you know, say, well, you made a mistake or something like that. But they take care of themselves. Cal was a mature guy as a rookie. He was a mature person as a rookie. I got to say that because after not playing shortstop for 2.5 years, I stick his name in the lineup. He don't come in and say, well, I haven't played, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. I think he went to the old man, the father, and said, well, is that lineup card right? And the dad said, yeah. He said, okay, here we go.
Hudler swings and misses at strike 3. Hoyles makes the put out. The Angels are gone. It's a 1-1 game, and guess who's going to lead off the bottom of the second for the Orioles? Earl, we'd like you to stick around because I know you want to see Cal hit.
Oh, I'm going to see Cal hit.
Oh, looks like his cereal left him flat. Of course, theirs didn't. So what's your excuse? Hey, pick up the broken pieces of your life and move on. Look, there's hope. Here, try this, see? Kellogg's low-fat granola's got big clumps of rolled oats, brown sugar, sweet raisins, and almonds, not flat little flakes. So you get a taste that's anything but flat. So, hey, wake up, get with it, like they did. Try something that won't leave you flat. Kellogg's low-fat granola, now with even more raisins. And hurry, we can't take much more of this.
We changed the way you saw the world. Now we've made a world of changes. Introducing the new Ford Explorer, the top-selling compact sport utility with standard dual airbags. The one with control track 4-wheel drive for instant traction control automatically. Plus an engine that lets you go 100,000 miles before your first tune-up. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away, the best the world has to offer.
Big East title is up for grabs, and the Hokies and Eagles are looking to make a run for it. This week, Virginia Tech welcomes BC to Blacksburg for a Thursday night primetime matchup. The Boston College Eagles versus the Virginia Tech Hokies. Tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
Back in Baltimore, the bottom of the second inning in a 1-1 game, the Orioles and the Angels. And Cal's coming up.
Ripken.
Can follow tonight at the plate with what he did last night, because he homered Monday night. He homered last night, also had 2 singles, converted a double play, made the last assist of the game. I told him jokingly earlier, I say, 2 homers or you fail tonight. He gave me that look. You know what that look is too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if he can even see the ball with all the flash bulbs going on.
There certainly are a lot of them. You know, I see Cal still away from the plate pretty much. When he was in that early slump in 1982, I thought maybe moving up on the plate would help him. But he didn't seem to think so. And I turned Cal Jr. over to Cal Sr. And whenever there was any problems as far as hitting were concerned, the father would get out there and work with him, and Cal would listen. Well, he would listen to me, too, but it just didn't seem to work. And he's off of the plate, and he's had tremendous success.
You had so many great players over the years, but to be able to have a young player come up in the environment that he came up with had to be a real bonus, because the guys like Brooksy and Frank Robinson that you had set a standard by which Oriole players always wanted to play up to.
Yeah, we're forgetting some pretty good guys, too.
Well, there's some good guys. There's some good guys.
Joe and Frank Robinson. My goodness.
Skied. Fabregas out. Phillips in. Fabregas makes the play, and Cal's retired.
And that wasn't an easy play. Not at all. You know, it was just a good group. Book Powell, the Jolly Giant, man, was he something to be around. You know, he was easygoing as they come. Paul Blair.
Great pitching staff.
Outstanding. Outstanding pitching staff. We used to get them over. They were like Maddox today. We used to get those games over in 2 hours. That's 88 pitches play yard throw sometimes.
Your credo was always pitching, defense, and 3-run homers, and you had them all.
Yeah, well, the guys are getting bigger today. You need 2 3-run homers in a game usually today. I don't know if it's the pitching or if it's the shorter parks, but you better get 2 of them if you're going to be comfortable.
This is Harold Baines, another native Maryland player who kind of came home after being elsewhere in the majors. Texas, White Sox, the Oakland A's. 1-1 here in the bottom of the second inning on a very special night. This is Earl Weaver, who's along with Chris Berman and Buck Martinez. We'll hear from longtime Oriole play-by-play voice John Miller. Fellow that lives in the White House, Mr. Clinton, will join us in the 6th inning. Brooks Robinson will join us. Joe DiMaggio will speak tonight, or will be around tonight. We'll be here for all the ceremonies. Frank gave a speech last night. It's no one will ever forget these days, Earl.
That's something.
How would you like to sit in on that conversation talking about hitting? Frank Robinson and Joe DiMaggio.
Oh. Well, they're talking about the past, I'm sure.
I don't see Joe out too much.
No. You know, it's Joe DiMaggio. I can go anywhere in the world and nobody's going to bother me, except possibly here. I'll sign a few autographs. But Joe can't go anywhere.
No.
It's just an impossible situation. And if you try, there's just no end. You know, if Joe walked down the aisle, everybody in this ballpark naturally would want Joe DiMaggio's autograph. if you sign one, it's almost, you can sign a few, but it keeps you inside.
Of course, Cal's been getting writer's cramp this year.
Oh, I believe that.
Ball's driven by Baines to left field. Garrett Anderson over his head. Baines will be in with a double. Ball just kept sailing. Boy, it's really been a little launching pad to left center field and left these two nights, Earl, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. The 2 ball games that I've seen since I'm up here, the ball is carried well. I don't know if it's the heat, the humidity. Don't seem like there should be much wind on this field. Either, well, sometimes straight in from center, but any other way, nothing to stop the ball from going or help the ball to go.
You love the old park, obviously, Memorial Stadium, but this yard is special, isn't it?
Why, certainly. It's a fantastic state-of-the-art. And we had our good times in Memorial Stadium, but I would have liked to manage. Well, I don't want to manage, but, you know, the last year I would have liked to.
I mean, you've had enough of that, Earl? Come on.
I just got my Medicare card.
The umps couldn't wait for you to get that.
Go out there and argue with the umpires and drop over.
This is Chris Hoyles, the catcher, and the count is 1-0. Baines at second, 1 out. Bottom of the second. And I know you feel the adulation, the cheers, everything that Cal is getting from across the country and maybe from around the world, baseball fans or not, that he deserves every one of them, doesn't he?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how this could happen. You'd think back, how did Gehrig ever do it? And here we got a guy in our generation, and thank goodness I'm not too old to be here to see it. Just unbelievable.
Well, that's the thing that's so remarkable, because nowadays they're so protective of players because of the financial investment they have. They're anxious to put a guy on a disabled list if he's got a little problem, but Cal has been so steady without any problems. It's quite remarkable that he's been able to just avoid injuries.
Well, we can quit talking about it because, you know, there's not much more you can say how he avoided injuries all that time. I forget who was second, but they said something like 3,700 players have been on the disabled list since the streak started. And God knows how many people have come into the big leagues and started a streak of their own. But 300, 400, 500 games, I guess, would be alive. I know Jeff Conine down in Florida just broke a 350-gamer.
Frank Thomas is over 230 games consecutively.
Yeah, it's like a burp. Well, in case you've forgotten, that 0 goes to 1 after the team that trails has batted for the 5th time. And if you weren't with us on our cut-in last night, I didn't see what happens. Just, you don't want to miss it. That's all I'll say.
You do not want to miss that. That's the one that got me.
Got Cal.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you know why, Earl?
And
that number,
going to get me more tonight.
The number 2130, if you think about it, 2131, that number won't last because whatever Cal ends with will be the new number. But this one we've been seeing for over a half-century, the 2130. So when that went up, that brought it home, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
2-2 to count to Hoyles. It will remain the same.
You know, Ernie Banks is up there with the celebration. And I think Ernie's way up there on consecutive games played. I really don't know as a fact, but he had played, I'm sure he had played, he had a streak going. And my point about that was Ernie was a shortstop to start with, but before it was over, you know, to use Ernie's bat, they moved him to first base, and he finished up as a first baseman.
Was there ever a point after you initially moved him there that you felt he would be better off going back to third base because his skills at third were probably all-star caliber at third as well?
Well, I wanted him in the center of that infield. And that's a general out there. Not to belittle any third baseman's accomplishments, but he's out there calling the plays in the middle and who's covering, you know, on the steals and who's covering from the pitcher.
Phillips makes the play, holds Baines at second base across the diamond. They're 2 out, and Jeff Houston coming up. You've got David Robinson, and he was here for a presentation last night. You don't have to be just a baseball fan to be. I think everyone's a Ripken fan.
Oh, yeah.
Every athlete, every buck, as you said, father and son and mother and daughter can respect what's what's happening here? Earl, this is a tough question. Not tough. I'm sure you've been asked it.
Not too tough.
Well, I'm all right. Can this happen ever again? Somebody played 2,000?
I would not think so. Because to start with, I didn't think, even at the start of this season, making plans to get up here. Because so many things can happen, you know. And 2,000 games, that's an accomplishment. Now that it's going to happen tonight, it's a much bigger accomplishment. But I was still leery a month and a half ago. But when we start getting close, you know, you had to get up here and you had to do it. I don't think anybody can do it. But I didn't think anybody could break Gehrig's record.
It was interesting when Everett Scott established a record. He said, no, I don't think there'll ever be a ball player establish it because these ball players nowadays get out of the lineup with a hangnail.
This was Everett Scott who said it.
That was in the 30s.
1925, his streak ended.
Well, you know.
There it is. There's Frank Thomas, 234. Next. Well, you being here has added greatly to the festivities. This is such a, this is a one-sport town. It wasn't when you were here with the Colts, but it's just such a fine, I don't have to tell you, a baseball town, that this is a baseball accomplishment happening in an all-baseball town. It
couldn't happen in a better place.
Yep.
That is
feel
a
that
fact.
way.
I got to see the Texas Park this year. That's beautiful, and I'm sure Cleveland, the White Sox.
Nice.
But this one's unique.
Well, that'll do it. Houston is struck out. Earl, thank you so much for joining us. Earl Weaver, the manager of the Orioles for so many years. We believe the president may be next.
Well,
Stay
the pleasure was all mine. I think that.
She was beaten and died.
Roger Clemens is moving up the list as well. Career strikeout number 2,304, passing Juan Marichal, number 30 all-time. Right now, back to Chris and Buck.
Boy, this is a big night if we trot John Saunders out. My goodness, and you'll see those Red Sox on Sunday. On Sunday Night Baseball, the Red Sox and Yankees. Talk about rivalries. There it is. Boston pretty much, I'd say they're in the driver's seat in the East, but the Yankees need every game.
Well, Don Mattingly trying to get into the postseason for the first time in his career. Now, Ripken's been there before, but he would like to make a run at the wild card here in Baltimore.
The Angels in a 1-1 game in the third inning, 8-9-1. George Fabregas, the young catcher, Damian Easley, and the top of the order, Tony Phillips against Mike Mussina. You tune in late. Tim Salmon, a 2-out home run, a solo home run in the first inning, his 32nd for a 1-0 Angel lead. Paul Merrill with a 2-out solo home run in the bottom of the first, his 33rd, and that's where we stand 1-1. Long ball, Cal ball. Federal Weaver. We'll hear from the President of the United States. Brooks Robinson expected to join us. John Miller, our Sunday night voice, and of course we've seen so many of Cal's games as longtime voice of the Orioles. And a whole lot more and festivities after the game. Seen Joe DiMaggio and Frank Robinson, and Ernie Banks is here, and here's Cal. 1 out.
Cal Ripken said he learned an awful lot from former Oriole shortstop Mark Belanger. Smooth fielding, strong accurate arm.
And of course, the aerial views. Appearing over major sporting events for 70 years now. That's longer than Cal's streak. The Goodyear blimp, Stars and Stripes, is here with Captain Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia, at the controls. And yes, even the blimp knows the night is special. Yeah, Goodyear out tonight. Cal #1 tonight. See? But it has been a good year, at least for Cal. Not getting hurt, as Earl mentioned. Of course, it's been a tough year for him because we figured that, and he figured that the Orioles would just get caught up in all the emotion, and nights that they had last night when they hit all those home runs would just carry over to the season. They'd be in the thick of a pennant race, and I know that's eating at Cal quite a bit, Buck.
Well, they went out and made some acquisitions in late July, early August. They picked up Scott Erickson from the Twins. They went out and got Bobby Bonilla, and they were trying to make a run at the wild card spot at least. But they haven't been able to put the skids on. That's Erickson, who has pitched well since coming to Baltimore. Bobby Bonilla has done a good job with the bat. But overall, the play has been inconsistent. The Orioles haven't been able to stay in the thick of that wild card race.
Now the Orioles 56 and 65, 19 and a half out. Has been a bummer. The Orioles have gone 12 and 24. 13 and 23 since they've skidded. And this is the wild card standings. Well, everyone's in it. It's got to leapfrog over a lot of teams.
The problem for the Orioles is they've got so many clubs ahead of them that they're going to have to jump over. 6.5 doesn't look like a bad number, but all the teams in front of them is a problem.
A gentleman from the White House has joined us, Mr. Clinton. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
This is a you're here as president or as a fan tonight, sir?
Well, I'm mostly as a fan, a little bit as president, because I think the president ought to be here tonight.
Yes, sir.
For this historic night.
Hello, Mr. President. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
This is a I know you've been following it. You're not far down the road. Of course, you're never out of touch. This is a wonderful evening. It's been a wonderful week. And I know you've kept your eye on all the proceedings.
I have kept my eye on the proceedings. I watched the game last night carefully. I was in the air, so I couldn't see it, but I mean, I kept up with it. And got up this morning, read the box score. Was pleased about it. And we came in early tonight. My daughter and I did. Hillary's still in China, so Chelsea and I and a friend of hers who's also a big Orioles fan came tonight, and we got to see Cal and the other Orioles and the vice president and his son Albert and a friend of his came. So we made and Mrs. Gore, so we made a big family outing of it.
That's what baseball's supposed to be, isn't it?
I think this game last night and tonight is going to do a lot to help America fall back in love with baseball. And
we hope so. I mean, that's Cal's got a lot of weight on his shoulders as Easley will dig for a pair.
He got it.
And he got it. You're welcome to call innings. Just go right ahead. Easley gets a double.
You can see the plate better than I could. It's nice over there in the owner's box where I was sitting because I can't see the plate, so I can second guess the umpire just like everybody else.
We do that all the time.
Well, isn't it good to be on the other end of that every now and then?
At least you got a little evidence on your side. You can see the plate.
We got replay. We got all sorts of surveillance stuff up here.
It is good to be on the other side of that every now and then. I know how that fellow feels.
Well, you were quite involved with baseball and really bittersweet. At the time, things didn't get accomplished in the spring, and I know the way you feel. You must feel that this will be a springboard. Baseball was Tony Phillips gets flunked. But baseball is there to be loved and cherished. It just is waiting for the opportunity. You feel that way?
I do, and I think the reason I say this about what I said about Cal Ripken is not just the fact that he's breaking a record, but the record that he's breaking, the way he broke it, the way he's breaking it, and the fact that he's been with one team for his whole career. I mean, he's really he's been able to combine talent and joy with old-fashioned dedication and constancy, you know, and I think that it's a great message that to go out to young people all across the country. I also think that it's causing a lot of Americans not only to appreciate baseball more, but I think they're appreciating this kind of dedication in other ways. Last night when I got home from California, I watched the late night news, the local news, and there was a feature on our local news of a bus driver in Virginia that had not missed a day's work in 18 years. And the only reason they did that was because of the Ripken record. And I imagine that'll happen now all across America. People will be looking at teachers that never miss days and other people who never miss days. And it will sort of lift up something good in America. And I think that's great.
I've noticed it in both clubhouses today how excited the ball players are about it. You probably noticed it as well, even in the Angels locker room.
These younger players, you know, it's a good thing for them to see someone's success that they they can admire, and they can't resent, they can't regret. You know, it's just something that's there and it's real. And I think that's good. I always think it's a good thing when people who do the same thing can honor someone for his or her success with no resentment. And I don't think there is. I think there's just a simple sense that this guy's done something extraordinary. I love it.
Well, you being a public servant, governor and president, imagine not taking a day off for 13.5 seasons. Can you actually think about that as a kind of, well, you're never off as a public servant, but
I like that. I mean, you know, I really like it. I like people that are devoted to what they do, that think they're supposed to show up every day.
Well, not only does he show up, but he prepares impeccably for his job every day.
But, you know, I think these stands here tonight are full of people who probably never get recognized, but who show up every day, both for their jobs and for their kids. And again, I think that that's one good thing that'll come out of this, is that people will begin to look around for the people that just are always there, always doing their duty. They may not be the flashiest person anybody knows. They may not have what somebody considers to be the biggest job in the world, but they're always there. Those are the people that make this country go, after all. And Cal Ripken, in a funny way, has made heroes of all of them as well. The other thing that I think is great about this is that they're doing this benefit for Lou Gehrig's disease tonight, which is a great thing, you know, a great way to honor Lou Gehrig. And I just saw a friend of mine from another state who just, by coincidence, I saw tonight, a man I've known for many years who is dealing with his own Lou Gehrig's disease. And he said tonight, he was a wonderful guy. He came to this game, he said, you know, now that we've broken Lou Gehrig's record, it's time to break Lou Gehrig's disease. Amen. And they would... I know that there were some good people in New York who wrote that maybe Ripken should leave the record as a tie, but if Lou Gehrig were around, he'd say, get out there on the field and play.
You know he would.
That's exactly what he'd say. And that's why I think it's so wonderful that they're doing this benefit for the disease tonight.
This is Jim Edmonds, who flew out to right field in the first inning. Phillips struck out. Damien Easy, the runner at second base. You're in a 1-1 game with 2 out in the third inning. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez and the President of the United States, Mr. Clinton. And
you wonder about a guy like him. Here's a young man just been in the majors, you know, not very long. And I wonder if he thinks about if the talent permits him to do it and he doesn't get an injury that's unavoidable, if he could play for 10, 12 years. That's another thing I hope. I hope that it kind of changes the attitude of makes both the players and the owners want to kind of come together a little more and keep this sport going.
Now I know why we're all at the park. That's what we're here.
Let's send out. Don't you guys have carry out? Let's send out for 4
I was counting on your poll tonight, sir, to get that up there. I didn't want to use all my chicks tonight. Were you a Gordon, Arkansas Cardinal fan?
No, Cardinal fan.
Right? So
we
Musial?
Musial. And all the Cardinals. We all love the Cardinals because, keep in mind at that time, today, Dallas is the closest Major League Baseball team to Arkansas. But there were no Texas teams then when I was a kid. So we almost all of us either were Cardinal fans or we got a lot of Cubs games on WLS out of Chicago. WLS was a very strong radio station. We could hear it all down there. But I can remember before we ever had a television at home, doing my homework as a child, listening to the Cardinal games on the radio at night.
By listening to baseball on the radio, that was the way people found out about, well, even beyond Lou Gehrig. I mean, much more recent than that, the Musial and you conjured up ideas of heroes, I guess, and really never saw them play. Read about them, heard them on the radio.
Yeah. Well, you know, Musial was, he played long enough to be on television.
Yes.
And so I guess I was maybe 10, and it was 1956 when we finally got a television. But a lot of people my age and a little older, our childhood was the radio. And in a funny way, even though I'm a creature of television and I love it and I'm a big ESPN fan, the thing about radio is it really fires your imagination because you literally have to, there's my girl.
She's enjoying herself tonight.
Having a big time.
You don't get a chance that much to get out and just enjoy a ball game, I suppose.
She was here a couple of weeks ago when the Toronto Blue Jays were here, and I was doing a ball game, and she was right down on that front row, really watching the ball game. And
she loves baseball.
Great seat.
Loves baseball. And she's got a friend with her who's a huge baseball fan. They got Brady Anderson's autograph tonight. That's what,
yeah. There you go.
That was their second objective after seeing Cal get his autograph.
Sideburns are in again.
Yeah. That's amazing. We had them 25, 30 years ago.
Well, Mr. President, it wouldn't be a night like this in baseball if you weren't at the park and you didn't join us, and we appreciate your time. We hope we get to do this again. You're welcome to call as many innings as you like.
No, I won't do that, but I'm disappointed I didn't get some sort of a fancy nickname out of you.
Like, I just didn't think it was presidential.
Berman or something.
I didn't think it was presidential, but I'll tell you what. I got my best man on it. Next time I see you, you'll be all set.
You got a deal.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. 1-1 game here in the bottom of the third inning on Cal Ripken night. And we told you we'd have guests, and we try and please here. Now the Orioles now begin here in the bottom of the third inning, 9-1-2. Which will be the youngster, Mark Smith, Brady Anderson, Manny Alexander. Smith, who hit a homer last night, skies it. And there's one out.
Center fielder, Brady Anderson.
Brady Anderson will batter. He's 0 for 1 tonight, batting here in the bottom of the third inning.
I was just getting some policy done with the
president.
president.
I noticed that, and I just thought I'd help you out.
Well, that food looked good there. He wanted us to get that in. I can't believe he wants a nickname. That's well, we'll have one.
Can't believe you didn't have one.
No, not
reserve.
Nice.
You got to have one in reserve.
You don't just
Boomer.
trot one out without floating it a little bit for the president.
You never even gave it a thought.
Not really. Cal doesn't have one, and Bill Clinton doesn't have one. That was great. He's a big sports fan. Everybody knows that. Basketball, golfer, and family night out at the park. Mom's in China. Rest of the family here at the park. First family, the second family. No wonder tickets were tough. Huh?
What a great atmosphere here tonight. And this president was right about this is what baseball needs. A few more of these nights where everybody gets back to appreciate the game itself.
They're using special ball. I think of this as the ball falls back into the crowd by Brady Anderson. Everybody's scrambling after the ball. The special balls tonight, as they do at an all-star game when they have a special all-star game baseball. This is a special Cal Ripken commemorative night ball. Some of the president of the American League, Lou Gehrig, who I met before the game. We visited with the umpires, Al Clark and the guys.
Well, I tell you, you keep your eye on those balls during the course of the game. The catchers, if it's strike 3 in an inning, they'll stick it right in their back pocket and run off the field.
Well, don't tell me that comes from someone who tried that before.
Well, they're special. Greg Myers, who caught here last night, took one off the field for one of his coaches.
Driven to left field, a base hit for Brady Anderson. Brady, who had 2 homers and a double last night, almost made a circus catch here in the first inning. The home run by Salmon now continues his hot streak at the plate. The third Oriole hit of the night. There's been 1 in each inning off of Sean Bosky.
Now this ball is away, and you see how Brady Anderson stays on it. He had outside half of the plate on his mind, and he strokes it into left field.
That was kind of interesting. We got to let people, Buck, a little behind the scenes here. We were thinking the president would come in the 6th inning. That was our information. Of course, whenever he would like to come, we have a seat for him. But we were in the middle of it. We weren't sure. No, I turned around to look at you to make a point. And the President of the United States was sitting next to us, and we should tell it. It seemed like this is all rehearsed, and everybody knows what's going on. And I said, well, Buck, and There he is with the handout and introducing himself to both of us, just like he was someone that dropped in at the game, which is, I think, he probably appreciates. That doesn't get to happen to him now.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of formality to it. He came in and made himself at home. What a big night for us, huh?
Oh, boy. That's a big night for everybody at home. I hope you're enjoying. We're going to hear from Brooks Robinson and John Miller and others. Watch Cal. And just a couple innings away now from the expected 2,131 consecutive games. 1-1 game here in the bottom of the third inning. 1 run, 3 hits for the Orioles. 1 run, 2 hits for the California Angels on getaway day for both. California, it's been a rough road trip. Actually, their tough way started at home when they lost 3 or 4 to the Orioles before they came east. They're looking to get home, and the Orioles a day off tomorrow. And what do you think Cal is looking at that one before they resume at Cleveland on Friday? In like Clinton. Man, where was I? I had a nickname for him in the presidential piece a year ago, and I gapped.
You panicked.
I couldn't come up with it. You know, it kind of was an
got the yips.
It was an executive order. I couldn't go with it.
You missed the 3-footer.
Boy, I did. I had the yips. He rode around the park last night in a golf cart, so that would. We got the yips. Yeah, Bosky's pitched pretty well. I mean, if there's the heat of the moment tonight, he thus far has not shown it, Buck. Rip, but foul past Steve Boros, the third base coach.
Sean Bosky is very aware of the Angels' skid, and that skid is not a direct result of the pitching, but it's certainly affected by the pitching. I don't care what kind of team you have. You are only as good as your starting pitching, and they really set the tone for the ball game. And this Angel Ball Club has very good starters. Langston, Finley, Jim Abbott, Brian Anderson, along with Bosky. But right now, they're going through a bit of a tough time. And Marcel Latchman, the manager, knows that sooner or later they're going to work their way out of it. They just need to have a big game, a well-pitched start like they're getting from Bosky tonight to get things turned around.
This could be trouble. Little blooper behind first, and nice play made by J.T. Snow. Didn't travel as far as originally looked like it, but Snow is one of the best fielding first basemen in baseball. And this will bring up Rafael Palmeiro, who hit a home run his first time up. Baseball Across America on ESPN2 tomorrow night. Hey, now you're my neck of the woods, the Eastern League. The 2 AA squads of the expansion teams, the Portland Sea Dogs, team of the Marlins, and the New Haven Ravens down the street from where we live in Connecticut. The Ravens, the AA club of the Colorado Rockies, the Portland Sea Dogs, and the New Haven Ravens head on tomorrow here on ESPN 2. Congratulations to both squads, the Sea Dogs. There goes the base runner out back. Dan Burke, our one-time head of Cap Cities, owner of the Portland Sea Dogs, the New Haven Ravens, Charlie Dowd. Nice job. We've gone to taking my kids to a few games there this year at Yale Field, Buck.
Well, that's a great atmosphere of minor league baseball, and you know, I'm really getting into all the different names: the Trenton Thunder and the New Haven Raven, the Portland Sea Dogs, the Chattanooga Lookouts.
So Anderson running on the first pitch, fouled up by Palmeiro. Pitch up top and outside. Now you look at these first basemen, Palmeiro and Snow making the play, and they're 2 outs, so we won't really get underway that much with this discussion. But a lot of people re-familiarize themselves, Buck, with Lou Gehrig and what kind of player he was, and really forget that he played in the shadow of Babe Ruth. If you were to take 5 players all time, he'd be one of them.
Oh, no.
You look at those numbers, you look at what he did. I mean, he's 3rd in RBIs, and we'll go into this some more, but 7 times 150 RBIs or more.
Now, that's why Cal Ripken didn't want to draw any comparisons between himself and Lou Gehrig, because they were different types of players. Gehrig was relied upon to provide the big offensive production. He had a couple close calls over at first base. Greg Cost, the first base umpire, down on one knee. Bosky is quick to first.
Well, Greg ran Phil Regan on Monday night's game. I asked Greg before the game and said, "Do you expect any of that tonight?" And I said, I kind of think the odds are slim that we'll run anyone unless we absolutely have to. Anderson takes a big lead. This one's skied by Palmeiro. This is a long run behind second for Hudler and Snow. And Salmon, the right fielder, makes the call. And there are 3 outs. We have played 3 here at Camden Yards. And you never know who's going to show up here in the booth.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Lou Gehrig, 340 lifetime batting average, 493 home runs. His RBIs almost 2,000. His 23 grand slams by 5, the most of anybody in baseball. McCovey's next with 18. 8 200 hit seasons. Only Rose and Cobb with 10 and 9 respectively had more. 1,888 runs scored. First player in the modern era to hit 4 home runs in one game. And here's a little Lou Gehrig note as the Angels begin their 4th inning with Tim Salmon, who hit the home run that fell in and out of the glove of Brady Anderson in center field. It's a home run note. And talk about greats, Buck. Machina works him inside. Lou Gehrig was one of only 2 players to ever hit 2 home runs in a game off Walter Johnson. He was the only one to hit 2 home runs that went out of the park. The other were inside the park home runs. Walter Johnson pitched 6,000 innings, gave up 97 homers. Gehrig hit 2 off him in one game. So there's there's just one instance of what a great player he was, and not to mention what a gentleman. And, of course, that speech that you saw, 61,808 at Yankee Stadium on July 4th, 1939, less than 2 years later, he would die 17 days shy of his 38th birthday. And Joe DiMaggio was a teammate of Lou Gehrig for several seasons. Gehrig's last season in 1939. Joe DiMaggio, a teammate of Lou's for 4 seasons. I wonder what he is thinking tonight. He's thinking all sorts of things.
Much like Ripken, Lou Gehrig was the gentleman, as you mentioned, and Gehrig came out of Columbia University in New York, and he was just the epitome of class. He was a professional ball player like Lou Ripken. You know, at one point in his career, they took an x-ray of his hands, and they found 17 different fractures in his hands that really never led to his missing any games, obviously. But he played through those injuries.
A base hit by Salmon. He's 2 for 2 tonight. An average year for Lou Gehrig from 27, beginning with that Murderers Row Yankees season, to 37. Average season, 39, 153, and 350. I mean, some of the seasons he had in 1936, 49 homers, 152 RBIs, 167 runs scored. 1931, 46 homers, 184 RBIs, the American League record, and 163 runs scored. Not to mention 341 average. He hit as high as 379 in 1930. Lou Gehrig on his monument, as Chili Davis is up on the monument on Lou Gehrig in Yankee Stadium, not his tombstone in Valhalla, New York, but on the monument at Yankee Stadium, quote, "A man, a gentleman, and a great player whose amazing record of 2,130 consecutive games should stand for all time." Yes, that was wrong, but gentleman on a monument in a ballpark. Now there's a word, Buck. We hear great, we hear superstar, we hear star, we hear fabulous. It's thrown around like nickels. Gentleman. That's a word we don't hear overused.
And they can't take that away from him. Same can be said for that man right there. All around baseball the last week or so, every time I ran into a ball player and they knew I was coming to do this game, they said, man, oh man, I wish I could climb in your bag and go with you. What a special night it's going to be. Anybody that has ever stepped onto the field and played understands just how demanding it is to play shortstop.
I did see at the airport you were charged for overweight luggage. I mean, I did see that.
You guys snuck in.
Yeah, we got spy. You saw that surveillance we had here. Just the president, the only one that has this stuff. Chile struck out in the first inning. Count is 1-2. Salmon at first. 1-1 game. Top of the fourth. I think the similarities between Ripken and Gehrig, Buck. This could be two. It's Cal to start it. And Cal to make the throw across. So doing what comes naturally, and he had him played perfectly, which would be no surprise.
Well, I tell you, he is smooth as silk out there. He played up the middle. He knows Mulcina's got outstanding command, so Cal Ripken can really over-exaggerate his defensive positioning. He takes the ball on a couple of hops, a little glide step towards second, and fires on the first base. An easy double play.
Oh, I see. Oh, I thought he had to go. He's with John Miller, the voice of the Orioles. And John dressed dapperly tonight. President with John Miller. I think the president is enjoying himself. And the important double play, obviously, as Snow follows immediately with a base hit to left. The base is clear and 2 outs. And on Sunday, Mr. Clinton will not be John's partner. Joe Morgan will be. And they'll be at Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox and the Yankees at 8 Eastern time. Sunday Night Baseball, one of the great rivalries. Red Sox, Yankees, Giants, Dodgers. Even though the Yankees and Red Sox are involved with different sort of things, obviously the Yankees are not going to catch the Red Sox this year in the East. The Yankees can still make the wild card race. And the Yankees, Red Sox, meaningful September game. This is a Giants, Dodgers meaningful September game, which we may have yet. With that NL West, the last, thank goodness there's one division in which there's suspense, although the Angels are making it suspenseful all of a sudden in the AL West.
Yeah, they've just got a 5.5 game lead over Ken Griffey's Seattle Mariners. So they would like to get it headed back in the opposite direction.
Mariners leading 1-0 at New York tonight in the 6th inning.
Mariners got one more stop on their 10-game road swing to the east. They stop in Cleveland and play the Indians tomorrow night. There you look at the AL West standings. Seattle 3 games over 500, 5.5 back. Texas Rangers have had a mild skid here the last couple of days.
Garrett Anderson, he just came up and flat out hit. Rod Carew told me he would call him the franchise the way he swings the bat. He's all ears when it comes to listening to Carew, and there's of course what Rod Carew has done with Jim Edmonds, and you're seeing there, and some of the other hitters. Carew loves this night. Of course, he was one of the few that has 3,000 hits.
Well, you know, it was interesting how the young players began to start listening to Rod Carew. It was only after Chili Davis and Tony Phillips came around and they started questioning Carew about their approach at the plate. And some of the young guys said, hey, if it's good enough for them, maybe I ought to give it a try. Yep. And since then, Rod Carew, the hitting instructor for the Angels, has kept a book for all of his hitters on how the pitchers around the league pitch them. There's a good changeup for a strikeout.
And Machina worked the younger Garrett Anderson to strike him out. Runner is stranded. We're 1-1 heading to the bottom of the fourth with Cal Ripken due up second. Stay around.
First and third, Ruben Sierra at the plate. A hot shot down to first. Tino Martinez with the stab makes the unassisted play. He also has the home run in the game. Seattle leads 1-0. Time now for the K Factor presented by Kellogg's. Over Cal Ripken's streak, 1,351 times he has gone the entire game without a strikeout, and only once during that streak did he strike out 4 times. So only once did he have to carry around that plastic bat that the Kangaroo Court hands out. You know about that, don't you, Buck? Back to you.
Sure do. That's right, John. The Orioles had a great Kangaroo Court that was initiated by Frank Robinson, and they had a base running award. It was a pair of old beaten up shoes, and they had that bat for a bad night at the plate. The K Factor.
The K Factor. Bobby Bonilla, Cal Ripken, Harold Baines here in the Orioles' fourth 1-1 game. Salmon and Palmeiro each solo home runs with 2 out in the first inning. That's how the teams have scored. You know what helps make this night so special is, I mean, there's so many things that do, Buck, with Ripken in the on-deck circle. But Cal's a hometown boy playing for the same team, his hometown team, as Gehrig grew up in New York playing for the Yankees. It was their dream to play for this team, as it was for those who grew up around them to watch them play for this hometown team. And, of course, younger brother Billy Ripken. What a moment that is, huh?
Wow. Stood up and said, nice going.
Billy. This is a sweet swing to center field. Back with Jim Edmonds. Back. Gone. Now the Orioles at 5 last night. They've got 2 tonight. Palmeiro, number 33. Bonilla, number 6, as a Baltimore Oriole.
Bobby Bonilla likes that ball away. He struck out on 3 pitches away the first time up. And now he turns it over to Cal Ripken Jr.
As do we. Ball 1 from Sean Bosky. His brother Billy, one of the 32nd basemen that has played with Cal through the years of the Orioles.
The thing that has separated Cal Ripken from an awful lot of players throughout his career is his competitiveness. He is a tremendous competitor who really studies pitchers and opponents. Watch the concentration in his face.
Every pitch, there's about, I think 4,000 flash bulbs. That's conservative, isn't it, Buck?
I think so. You got to really be focused to concentrate with all those bulbs popping around you. But he goes to the plate with a definite game plan, and he'll stick to it. He doesn't deviate very often.
Ripped to left. Oh, my goodness. He's done it again.
Did we really think that Cal Ripken would limp into this streak, into this record-breaking night? Home run Monday, home run Tuesday, home run Wednesday. You have got to be kidding us. 2,131 consecutive games is superhuman enough. What he's done with all this weight these 3 nights has put it to even another level.
His dad told him to do the job right, and is he ever?
don't think anyone expected him to hit a homer again tonight. Although, I don't know what there is that he can't do.
If you know him, you expect it. You need a leadoff double to start the ninth. That's what he does.
325 lifetime home runs for Cal Ripken. I guess any man that can win MVP awards 8 years apart. Only one player did it with a longer span apart. Willie Mays 11 years apart. You just, is that relief, elation, figuring that he's got something else up his sleeve for us? What is that look?
That look is satisfaction.
I think the crowd is numb by it, Buck. I mean, ground ball by Hoyles that's handled by Phillips. The crowd is numb.
Let's take a look at this pitch from Bosky. Fastball about belt high, and he hooks it. Look at the numbers up on the warehouse. Typical Ripken style, isn't it? Understated.
Yeah, nice going, bro. Hudler over to Snow, and Houston is retired. On Cal Ripken's night, Cal Ripken has helped put the Orioles ahead 3-1, which means after the next half inning, if the Angels don't tie it, he's knocking on heaven's door.
What do you want to know?
Orioles lead it 3-1. Ripken and Bonilla homered in the bottom of the fourth. Boy, did Cal homer.
Look at the eyes. Tremendous concentration and determination. And then elation.
Cal at short now as the Angels face a 3-1 deficit, and the ace of the Orioles staff, Mike Mussina. Hudler, Fabregas, Easley, 7, 8, 9. And then hold on to your seats. The eruption that if this was a playoff game or a pennant game or a different sort of game that might have continued through these 5 minutes is just being put on hold for about 3 outs, unless the Angels tie the game. In which case, it won't be official until the Orioles bat in the bottom of the fifth. Rex Hudler, a former Oriole and one of 30 second basemen who has teamed with Ripken over his streak, pops out, and there is 1 out. Got his spike caught in Ripken's spike a little bit, and everybody was collective gasp because it could have been hurt.
And then Cal, after the game, said, "Hey, man, he stepped on my foot. Come on, lighten up." Cal Ripken wouldn't want to see anybody play less than 100%. That's the way he plays it every single inning. Every time he goes into second base, he slides hard. And he respects everybody that plays the same way he does.
It's kind of an expectant buzz over the stadium. As Mussina works it 1-1 to George Fabregas. Now we saw brother Billy Ripken behind the plate. Cal. They played 663 games together, the Orioles, from 87 to 92. There's Kelly, his wife, Rachel and Ryan, their children, who threw out the first pitches tonight to their dad.
Kelly's really responsible for Cal being able to enjoy this season. She told him back in spring training to relax and enjoy it. You might as well allow the people to tell you what a tremendous feat it is. And because of that, he's been able to enjoy it much more than he has in the past couple of years.
Staying 2 hours behind after games to sign autographs. Oh, the list goes on and on. And he'll be up again to take Rachel to kindergarten for day 2 tomorrow.
You know, he represents everything that's good about baseball. He appreciates the game. Even tonight, he was standing down in a crowd of people down the right field line signing autographs after infield practice in a mob of people. Barnett almost got his right hand up in the air, didn't he? He flinched.
He got it caught in the pocket, I think. He ripped the seam there. Count is 3-2 to Fabregas. 3-1 Orioles. Top of the 5th inning. Palmeiro, Bonilla, and Ripken have hit them out for Baltimore. Salmon for California. 4 solo home runs. We're 1 out away from the unveiling of 2-1-3-1 on the warehouse past the right field stands. If you have not seen this ceremony before, if you didn't see it last night, you didn't see it on other Oriole games the last couple of weeks, the homestand before this, please. I know everybody has remote controls. Do yourself a favor. Tuck it under the couch for 10 minutes. Easley doubled the first time up. Left the board in the 3rd. Phillips on deck for the Angels, who trail at 3-1. Count is 3-0 to Damian Easley. Machina working with Easley taking all the way. Drops it in for a strike. He's feeling anything right now, Bob?
Yeah, he was talking to himself.
What began on May 30th, 1982, and continues September 6th, 1995. This game, with the Angels trailing, is now in the books. And let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr., has reached the unreachable star. that will live for 2,131 years. We will never see anything like this again tonight. We've seen tonight.
And he deserves every minute of it.
I don't think that victory lap was planned. That was just his teammates saying, get out there.
Looked like Palmero and Bonilla were the instigators, but what a great idea to go out and acknowledge all the fans out in the outfield.
Well, if that doesn't make you cry and excited, goosebumps, and all the above, then check your pulse. It's a homer in the 4th. Takes a victory lap in the 5th. We are so glad that you're able to see this across America and across the world, for that matter. Our privilege just to be here. And after the game, Cal will address the crowd, and this will not be a gee thanks. We'll hear from Joe DiMaggio. We'll be here for all of it. So if you need the heartbeat to go down just a little bit, just be prepared. It may come up a little later.
Well, Brady Anderson has prepared a poem, and his teammates are going to present him with a gift. Brady Anderson, his teammate for the longest time outside of Eddie Marine.
Just another night at the ball yard, huh, Mr. Martinez?
Wow. That's baseball. You know, we talked about the record and the magnitude of being able to come to the ballpark and see a record. But when you can associate Cal Ripken Jr. with Lou Gehrig and be a part of it, and everybody knows the accomplishments of Gehrig and how significant his name is. But now we have all been a part of a new association.
If you forgot to set your stopwatch, 22 minutes, 15 seconds, is that the ovation? It'd go on for 22 hours. Nobody would complain. Nobody would argue. Everybody would love to participate. What we've done in the last 23 minutes is kind of link baseball of the roaring 20s and the 30s. And one of the all-time greats, the all-time great team, with baseball as the century closes out. Tonight, in case anyone doubted, link together the entire 20th century of baseball. Well, there's the scoreboard. It's a new position that no one has ever played before. Position 2-1-3-1. Last night, tears. Tonight, I don't know if we call it jubilation. I think we do. Relief.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Mark Smith, Brady Anderson, Manny Alexander. 9-1-2 bat here in the bottom of the 5th. We have just witnessed a humbling experience, numbing experience, an exhilarating experience. For those that are wondering if baseball is out there and people still love it and cherish it, and respect it, yeah. When you put together something like this when you just give us baseball.
When you treat it as gently as Cal Ripken has treated it for his entire career, you really learn to appreciate the game.
We'll visit shortly with a man that took to the field in the Oriole colors the same way Cal has done every night. Brooks Robinson, the only man that's played more games with the Orioles than Cal. Played almost 2,900 games. Brooks will join us in the next half inning. Brady Anderson's been swinging well. 2 home runs last night as a single and 2 trips tonight. Fouls that one off. He told you to lose that remote control. We don't lie here at ESPN. I mean,
how could you turn this off?
Oh, man. After the game will be unreal. Everyone here in the park feels what everybody at home feels, what the president spoke about. All of us have spoken about. Spirit, work ethic, gentleman, competitor, all of the above. I don't think thesaurus has enough pages for the adjectives.
Well, that's the thing that longtime coach Elrod Hendricks has told me time and time again about Cal Ripken Jr. was the fact that he was so mentally tough. He never allowed himself to think about being tired or think about a nagging injury. He just went out there every day, strapped on his shoes, and went to work. There's Elrod down in the bullpen, and boy, I bet you those eyes are all welled up with tears. He's seen the entire evolution.
Well, Cal made sure that he went and found Elrod on his victory lap. And Al Bumbry, first base coach, has been here so long. His 82 teammates are here. We'll see a lot of them tonight in the postgame. Earl, of course, we visited with in the second inning. It's an Oriole night. It's a baseball night. It's a human night. Anderson sits down. There's one out here in the Baltimore 5th inning with Manny Alexander coming up. As Bosky gets Anderson tonight for the second time in 3 trips. Alexander, one of 30 second basemen that has played with Cal. It's interesting, there are at least 8 in the park tonight. 3, of course, currently on the Orioles. Alexander, Brett Barbary, and Jeff Hewson. Hewson is a third tonight, but he's played second base. There are 3 in Angel colors tonight. Ooh, was close to getting him. Rene Gonzalez, who people remember as an Oriole, is on the Angels bench. Rex Hudler, the second baseman tonight for California, played with the Orioles. There's Rene Gonzalez, who represented the Angels in presenting Cal with a gift last night. Hudler, who was at second base. And third base coach of the Angels, who you don't really remember as an Oriole, certainly, but was a fine shortstop. And I talked with a long time tonight about what Cal has done. Rick Burleson, the Rooster, only time Red Sox and Angel, then came over here to the Orioles and he got hurt, never really get to finish up properly. And the Rooster was just sitting there with his jaw dropped, kind of. We gazed down at shortstop for about 15 minutes today and talking about it. He knows all the. He said that he thought if he could go through a season and play 155 games, which he's done a few times, that he's had a heck of a year. This is ripped to left field, but Alexander, not with good power, gets under it, and Garrett Anderson makes the catch. There's 2 outs. Mark Smith back to first, and Rafael Palmeiro, who homered in the first inning, will come up. 2 other first basemen we should mention that are here tonight. Rich Dower, who will be on the field later as second base, and one that you will not remember as playing second base, but one of our broadcast brethren, a couple boots down for the Orioles. And my favorite all-time nickname. Yes, he played a couple games at second base. John, tonight, let it be Lowenstein. And tonight it has been more than Lowenstein. Then Lowenstein Cal Ripken's first appearance, August 10th, 1981, came in the 12th inning as a pinch runner for Kenny Singleton was here tonight. Lowenstein singled. Ripken scored from second base, and it began. 1 run scored as a pinch runner on August 10th, 1981, on a single by John Lowenstein. I reminded Lowenstein last night, he'd forgotten it. He said, "Oh yeah, I promised I'd get him in." There he is, very personable John Lowenstein. Was a member of those teams, that platoon that Earl had in the outfield. 79, lost out to the Pirates in a memorable World Series.
Gary Renicky, John Lowenstein, lefty-righty combination. Earl Weaver had a very good ball club. We heard him talk earlier about how the real leaders on the team didn't need a whole lot of help. They were much like Cal Ripken. They went out there, did their job, and if anybody slacked off, it was the players that took care of it.
Outside of Palmeiro, it's 2-1. There are 2 outs. Smith at first. Palmeiro, Bonilla, and if you just joined us, where have you been? But Ripken hit a homer in the 4th inning. His 3rd in 3 nights. His 15th of the season. Salmon, a solo homer in the 1st for California. So the 3-1 score and 4 solo home runs here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And a little reach out, base hit by Palmeiro. Smith will stop at second. 2 outs. Bonilla up and Ripken on deck. Last time up, Bonilla homered, his 6th as an Oriole, his 24th overall this year, as he had 18 with the Mets before coming over at the end of July.
In the first 2 at-bats, Sean Bosky has worked Bonilla away. First time he struck him out. Second time Bonilla hit a fastball out over the outside part of the plate for a home run to center. Got to work the inside a bit. Cal Ripken on deck, homered his last time up. Back-to-back home runs, Bonilla and Ripken back in the 4th inning.
The only thing left for Cal to do at the plate is point before he takes a cut.
That's the last thing he would do.
No, we've seen about everything else. I'm running out of, my list is getting short of what I think that he can't do. Hit it over to Babe's Tavern, right?
How about if Bonilla gets on and loads the bases?
A granny, huh? You working for Disney already? They just bought us. Oh, it's an error. But they're sending, no, they hold up Smith, and well, tonight, you asked for it, you got it. The base is loaded for Cal Ripken. Hutler, and the bases remain full as Ripken pops into the 3rd out. Well, they can't do everything. You know what we just learned at that at bat? He's human. Cal Ripken is human. Brooks Robinson will join us, and we come back 3-1 Orioles. We've played 5 on a night we will never forget at Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
The anticipation, the quickness that he showed, even though he didn't have, a lot of foot speed. He knew how to play, he knew how to get rid of the ball. And I think that if I was able to play third, that I think I'd have worked at it, and I'd have been, I'd been a pretty good third baseman. But I'm thankful that Earl decided to move me to shortstop because, that's the one position I really enjoy.
Now we are back here in the top of the 6th inning, and The man that Cal was just speaking about in reverence, and the man that we speak about in reverence, Hall of Famer Brooks Robinson, the only man that's played more games as an Oriole than Cal Ripken. Now, get out of the way, will you?
Well, I'm kind of happy he moved to shortstop, to tell you the truth. Oh.
Can you, you were with us here during that. Ovation is not even a fair word.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything close to that?
No, I haven't. I tell you, I think the Pope arrived a month early. That's what I think. That was just unbelievable.
He's been here for 13 and a half seasons.
Well, you might be right. That was just, you know, once in a lifetime. That's all I can say. You never expect to see anything like that again.
Phillips grounder bobbled by Alexander. He kind of nonchalants it, then gives a little raspberry in the hand of Palmero with a throw over to first, but there is one out. Brooks, you knew Cal as I mean, a boy. I guess his first remembrance of a ball game was the '66 World Series. Game 4, he came at 6 years old. Well, what was he like as a youngster? I mean, real young.
Well, just tagging after his dad, you know, and shagging balls once in a while. But I really think he gained a lot of insight just doing that, being around here. When his dad was a minor league manager, he was there and at the ballpark. And it just, you know, this is something that he dreamed about, and no one knew that he was going to be the kind of player he turned out to be. He just improved every year, bigger and stronger, and I tell you, I mean, that's just remarkable that 21-31, that's hard to believe.
Brooks, you played every single day at a very tough position at third base, and you know the rigors of playing shortstop, but I look at Cal Ripken and I think about how he understands the game, and you talk about being around the game. Was he distinctly different than anybody else that you had seen come up to the big leagues at that point?
Well, I think so. I mean, he knew a lot about the game. He knew it's a little instinct I think you have to be born with more than anything else, Buck. That's something you can't acquire, and he had that little instinct to know about the game. And you know, really his dad, I talk about baseball people, and I always said that Paul Richards was the greatest baseball personality that I met as far as knowing what makes every position tick. And I would put Cal Sr. right up there with him, and I'm sure that he gave Cal Jr. a lot of insight. But you know, he plays the most demanding position on the field, shortstop, and to be able to do what he's done over this long haul is just unbelievable.
Well, you're a great judge of talent defensively, and you've said time and time again that Cal doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Tell us why you think that people don't really appreciate him as a shortstop.
Well, he's not flashy. I mean, what do you want from a shortstop? I'll tell you what you want from a shortstop. You want that guy that makes the routine play day in, day out, never misses that ball, makes a spectacular play once in a while, and he's that type of shortstop. He might not have you know, the range of a Vizquel or an Aparicio, but Cal plays in the right spot. He knows who's pitching, he knows where guys hit the ball, and he's just there.
Another thing I think about when I think of Cal and his makeup is the way you guys basically set the tone for him, because when you think back to those great teams of the 60s and early 70s, you were pretty much understated as a team, and do you think he picked up some of that attitude and carried it forward?
Well, I think so. I think that really, you can look at his demeanor. I mean, never gets excited, just day in and day out. And I look at the teams back in the you know, 69, 70, and 71 when we went to the World Series, and we were pretty calm, cool, and collected, and didn't really show a lot of emotion. And I think probably that's kind of the way. And again, it comes from his dad also.
Well, Earl Weaver talked about the way you players kind of policed yourselves on the field. If anything needed to be addressed, speak about that, because Weaver said he didn't deserve as much credit as he may have gotten.
Well, he deserves a lot of credit. I tell you, he was able to get all 25 guys involved in the game and make everyone feel important. But you're right. When something needed to be aired out, whether it be a player or whatever, I mean, he just aired it out. You know, you let everybody know where they stand, and hey, when you cross those white lines, you're out there. It's a serious business, and that's kind of the way everyone approach it, and that's the way you should approach it.
Brooks, you played 4 complete seasons, not missing a game. You played 4 shy of 2,900 games. I mean, can you articulate what 2,131 straight games can possibly mean? I mean, I'm not saying you were close, but you know the feeling of playing every game in the season. He's played every one in 13 and a half.
Yeah, you've got to be awful stubborn to do that. You have to be awful stubborn to do that. That's the word I like best of all. I think that, but I mean, how many times do you come to the park and you know, with, he might have a little nagging injuries. He's had those. He's played through them. And the only reason he's played through them is the fact that if there's a game, my name should be in the lineup. And that's how he approached it. I don't really think he started thinking about the streak to maybe 6 or 7 years into it. And then, you know, I think he probably said, hey, you know, this might be something worth chasing, because he took a lot of criticism early in this streak when he wasn't doing well. The team wasn't doing well. And people were saying, hey, he should sit down and rest. And it just never happened. And he played through a lot of tough times.
How about 8,243 straight innings? I mean,
and then that took his dad to take him out of that, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a blowout game, 10 home runs by Toronto. His dad never really told him, right? That was the Billy went in to get to Cal's glove. Cal was left on base or something, and Cal just simply said, Senior said to Billy, wrong glove. and that was it. But that's 5.5 seasons of that.
You know, with guys sliding into you, getting hit by the ball. It's just so many things that can happen.
Well, you must have been around when he got hit early on in his career when Mike Moore hit him in the head, and he said that really made him a little more intense. I don't know if he needed a little more intensity, but he said it certainly got his attention and refocused him.
Yeah, he was struggling at that particular time, and he got beamed, and he got beamed good. I'll tell you, it wasn't any glancing blow, and he came right back, and that kind of set him off, you know. And I think he really learned something from that. It's not fun to get beamed, but it scares you, in fact. But he came right back and knew he had to get back in there, and that's when he started to struggle.
Good pitch by Mussina to Tim Samet, who homered off him in the first inning and singled off him in the fourth. Big strikeout now with 2 down. Edmonds remains at first with the walk, and the switch hitting Charles Theodore, some call him Chili Davis, is up.
Let's take a look at this last pitch by Mussina, and he's got outstanding control. He can find that outside corner with the fastball and gets a strikeout.
Brooks, I think tonight a word, and obviously with the Ripken family and Cal Sr. and Cal and his son and his wife, Kelly, and his kids throwing out the first pitch, etc. But there's Joe DiMaggio with the Ripkens, mom and dad. But the Oriole family, I mean, things are different now, but you really, if I think of a baseball team, and that's extended from when you played and then really into the 70s, 80s, beyond a little, it was for about 20 years as good a family in baseball as there is. Now, what does tonight, this is an Oriole family night.
Well, it is an Oriole family night, and I think that you know, it all goes, Chris, back to this being a type of a blue-collar town. And I think they just, when they like you, I want to tell you, they like you, and they never let you go. And that's kind of the way that they've embraced Cal Ripken tonight, and it's something that will last forever. And I don't know how else to put it, but I mean, it's unlike a lot of big cities. I mean, this is, you know, everyone goes to New York, to Philadelphia, to Washington, and Baltimore always kind of got left out. But boy, they're the highlight of the town tonight.
Well, they're not getting left out tonight.
No,
that's
they're
for
not.
sure. And I think you all had a team that people, whether they rooted for the Orioles or not, had everyone's respect. And I think that that's kind of carried over to Cal and what we were seeing tonight, and people are thinking of Orioles and years go by. I mean, I know the rivalries in the American League cities, that you'd go into the Bostons and the New Yorks, and you weren't booed and hooted as a hated team. You were booed as an opponent, but it was a different sort of there was no jeering. Everyone always wanted to come out and see the Orioles. I'm not being patronizing. I know it because I sat in Boston and watched all this.
Well, like you say, it probably started just, you know, you started winning, and you had a front office that was first class, and it kind of went right down to baseball people, went right down to the players in the field, and it just permeated. I mean, even the minor leagues and the players we brought up, and they just had a certain feeling of knowing what to do.
Can it still be that way today?
No, I do not think it can be that way today. I just think that baseball has changed so much, Chris, that you probably won't ever get that feeling again. That's the way I feel.
That's sorry to admit, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like any other, I don't want to be a philosopher, but I mean, like any other part of our society, it's changed, and there is a different feeling.
Well, the feeling of certainly what was and what you grew up thinking and still think of baseball, we're feeling that tonight.
There's no doubt about it.
No question. Big situation here in the ball game. You've seen us walked a couple with Chile on. They're 2 outs. but 2 on in a 3-1 game. Terry Clark and Mark Lee are throwing in the Baltimore pen. And the dangerous J.T. Snow, he had the 87 RBIs, is up. Speaking of famous folks whose fathers were outstanding athletes, certainly Cal Jr. and there's the bullpen with the two with Clark and Lee throwing. Everyone knows that J.T. Snow's father, Jack Snow, an outstanding All-American, wide receiver, and played 11 years with the Los Angeles Rams. So just like the Ripken bloodlines, certainly you know where the genes came from. Same with this young man.
Well, he's turned into a pretty good player this year. It took him a while to get his feet on the ground, but I'm happy for him.
This is ripped but foul. I know something you certainly appreciate about players, young players like this, is the way he plays defense at first base.
Yes, outstanding defensive first baseman.
Berkshire, what do you think it is about the guys that are around the game, like J.T. Snow and Cal Ripken, about picking up, it's kind of a attitude about professional sports. This is how you go about your business. Do you think that's missing an awful lot today?
Oh, I think so. You know, the money's made the big difference too, Buck. I mean, it's more of a me, I game, and just don't get the same feeling. And I don't know. That's just the way it is. You know, that's the feeling I get.
Don't you feel, though, that the fans are waiting to embrace, as they did tonight, that it won't ever be, quote, the way it was, but it can go in a direction which maybe brings in some of what you grew up and what we grew up and people even younger than myself grew up thinking about baseball? Don't you think that it can be embraced maybe a little bit differently, but you can get back on track when people see nights like this?
Hey, Chris, absolutely. But, you know, they got to get started.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, what's happened since the strike? Nothing.
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight. That's it. But, I mean, they've got to get started. They've got to, you know, they've got to show the fans that they're trying. They've got to get a basic agreement. They've got to get down on their hands and knees and say, hey, I'm sorry, you know, let's play ball. And
let's have a commissioner that might tell an owner or two to, hey, don't do that.
That's right. I mean, I get around, I see a lot of people, and that's, you know, there's still a lot of people that are very upset with the game of baseball. And, you know, it's the real fans are here, but it's the borderline fans that are not coming to the ballpark, that can do other things, and they're doing other things.
There's a gentleman that is always welcome at any ball yard, and he had tears in his eyes, too, during those 22 minutes ovation.
I'll tell you, all he has to do is put up his hand, walk out, and he gets an ovation anyway.
What, Brooks, I mean, what did you think of Joe DiMaggio when you were a kid?
Oh, well, I grew up, I knew baseball, and Stan Musial was really my idol, but I sure knew Joe DiMaggio, and I played in an old-timers game here many years ago, and Joe just took a, you know, I mean, he just stops the show wherever he is. Just walks out in his street clothes and gets the biggest ovation of anyone.
He doesn't really mean to.
No.
But, you know, he looks like a Yankee, doesn't he? I mean, he just says, I'm a Yankee. I'm a class guy, and you see the World Series ring on his hand.
Well, it's nice that he's here tonight.
Yes.
I tell you, the fans are going to get a big thrill to see Joe walk out on the field tonight.
This is trouble. This is a long run for Mark Smith. Oh, he makes the diving catch. The youngster Mark Smith keeps this game a 3-1 lead because with 2 outs, everybody was flying. The Angels were looking to knot it, but the youngster is coming through on a night of the veteran.
Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, has just taken himself out of the Yankee lineup for the first time in 14 seasons. 2,130 consecutive games, a record that will stand as long as young men play the game of baseball.
Berman say so many times tonight, a very special night in Baltimore, but not just in Baltimore. Cal Ripken's night was all around the world of baseball tonight.
It is an official game, and Cal Ripken has officially done it. 2001. Look at this. These guys are watching games. Luke Frazier, who's made it back to the big leagues, looked up at 131 games in a
Ripken broke the record. As Bob Shepard said, Cal Ripken has officially broken Lou Gehrig's record. Back to you, Chris.
All right, John, thank you. Boy, now there's a touching scene that you really think that it's just here in Baltimore. I mean, it was a night when everyone in baseball was connected as we look down, and this thing's been providing pictures from before today's players were born. Woodward Blimp over the All-Star game in 1933. Speaking of pointing it out, Buck, speaking of pointing to center field, he's here tonight with a special tribute to Cal, and yes, he is #1. We're joined, Chris Berman, along with Buck Martinez, by Brooks Robinson, the Hall of Fame third baseman from the Baltimore Orioles. And new pitcher for California is Mike Bilecki. It's an all-Cub night. Bosky is given away to Bilecki, and Ernie Banks is in the stands. So I guess Ernie at least is getting some sense of satisfaction from it. The Cubs being represented. Harold Baines is up a 3-1 Oriole lead in the bottom of the 6th, and he strikes out. Brooks, that was not, I mean, everyone seemed connected tonight. Everybody, either you were here or you were here in spirit for baseball.
Oh, you sure were. I came in a little later, about the 2nd or 3rd inning, but I mean, people just standing out on the street still trying to get tickets to get in here. It was unbelievable.
This park itself, I know you love the old Memorial Stadium. We asked Earl the same thing, but this setting, this park itself is kind of what Cal's done tonight. Combine the old with the new, if you think about it.
Well, it sure has. It's made a big difference, Baltimore, downtown-wise, but it's just a terrific park for the fans. A lot of things happening. I mean, people walking around. Boog Powell out there selling barbecue. I mean, and you can see the pitchers warm
How
out.
does it taste? I mean, I've had it a few times. You like that?
Yeah, I don't like to get in line, though. He makes me get in line, you know.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, he makes me get in line and makes me pay for it. That's what I don't like about it. But you're right. This combines the old with the new, and it's just a great ballpark. I tell you, it's a great park to hit in, Buck. You'd love to hit here, too.
Yeah, it's nice and cozy, isn't it?
It sure is. The ball flies out of here, and that's really been the Orioles' problems most of the year. They just offensively have not done the job.
Chris Hoyles fouls this one, and Snow a long run. We talked about his fielding. We talked about it, and he missed it. It's a fair ball, and now Hoyles was thinking about going to second. That's, of course, a tough play. I figured it would be a nice segue into him making a nice catch, but, you know.
Now they got turned around, and the ball got over the back of his head, and it drifted back into fair ground. Chris Hoyles gets a single. Watch J.T. Snow in foul ground there, and then the ball starts to drift on him, and that finally ends up in fair territory. Hudler, Salmon all around. J.T. got turned around, Brooksy.
I think J.T. probably called for the ball a little too quickly, and it really ended up being Hudler's ball. He had the best angle on it, and here, whoever picks up the ball, if he throws to first base, he's got Hoyles dead at first base.
So the Orioles with something going, and the third baseman Jeff Houston is up. Brooks, what was your, it's hard to say favorite memory. I mean, you guys won that World Series, shocking the Dodgers. We talked with Earl. It seemed like some of the World Series early on that you'd think you'd win, you didn't win, and the ones people didn't think you would win, like '66 sweeping the Dodgers, the Big Red Machine in '70, and that was, of course, your series. Is that the one?
Well, I think that I played before, and the two were supposed to win. We lost, and the two were supposed to lose. We won, but I don't think anything tops your first World Series.
Really?
Yeah, I just, you know, when as a kid growing up, you always say, boy, there's a guy who did it. He was the MVP that year. We hit back-to-back home runs in the first inning of the first game, and that was just about the end of the fireworks.
Koufax?
Well, Drysdale
that
pitched,
game,
yeah.
that's
That was
right.
a little advantage we had. Not that Drysdale wasn't a great pitcher, but Koufax was their #1 guy, and he had to try to finish off the Phillies to get in the World Series.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Finally, Easley makes the play, and there's 2 outs.
But as a youngster growing up, you just dream about signing a professional contract, getting to the major leagues, being on a pennant winner, and winning the World Series. And we did that in '66, and I just, I said, hey, we don't ever do it again. We did it one time, and that's really what it was all about. So I never forget the first time around. And in '69, of course, the Mets, we won the first game, and then we never got out of New York. And in '70, I tell people I played almost 23 years professionally, but never had 5 games in a row like I had in that World Series. I mean, you can play 2 weeks and never get a chance to make a good play at third base, but in that particular series, You know, it was hitting and fielding, and
yeah, a little bit of fielding, as I remember.
Yeah, right. And I tell people, well, the thing that no one remembers in the first inning of the first game, a little 24 hopper to me, and I made a high throw to Boog Powell for an error. And when you make a high throw to Boog, you know, that's pretty big. That's a high throw.
That's why it makes you pay for the barbecue.
That's right. But I can remember saying after that, oh, man, here we go again. I mean, what is coming off? You know, you lose to the Mets in '69, and here the first ball is hit to you in the World Series. I think it was Woody Woodward hit it to me, and you make an error. But everything else after that was upbeat.
Well, he made that great play on Lee May in foul territory and threw him out.
Yeah, Lee is the hitting coach here. He never lets me forget it. I mean, every time I see him, he says, hey, Robinson, no one would have ever heard of you if I hadn't hit that ball.
Well, I don't quite think that's true. Big night for Arkansas up here. You, the president, I mean, you're all Cardinal fans, Musial.
Yeah, well, that's okay if you had the president on first tonight. That's fine with me.
He wanted to get out of the way before you got on. Well, Smith, who made the big catch, made the strikeout, and so we remain 3-1. Brooks Robinson, it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Enjoyed being with you guys. It's been a great night.
Thanks, Brooksy.
All right, Brooks. We'll be back here to Baltimore in a moment. Back in Baltimore, the Orioles on 3 solo home runs, one of them hit by a man named Ripken, lead the Angels 3-1 here as we begin the 7th inning. Is Mike Mussina trying to make Cal's night extra special. Mussina on the mound saying he just wanted to have some fun tonight. He's trying to become the first 16-game winner in the American League. Now he faces the young left fielder Garrett Anderson, Rex Hudler, and George Fabregas of the Angels. 6, 7, 8. And a beautiful inside-out swing by Garrett Anderson. And again, Mark Smith makes the diving grab.
Now, the second time tonight, Mark Smith has made a diving grab going toward the left field line. That was extra bases for sure, but look at the effort by Smith. Diving headlong, he spears the line drive off the bat of Garrett Anderson and saves at least a double, maybe a triple for Mike Mussina.
Right, it's 2 straight plays. He ended the 6th inning on a catch against Snow, and he starts the 7th with Anderson. So 1 is an accident, 2 is a trend. I guess Mark Smith can play some left field, but why guess about it? I mean, I thought I was well dressed tonight, but we are joined now by the voice of ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, the voice of the Baltimore Orioles, and the touching moment last night, certainly before the game, is $1 million donation was made to aid ALS research at Johns Hopkins through the sale of these special seats for tonight. That's Dick Dart, who is battling Lou Gehrig's disease, his wife Denise, son Kevin, daughter Lauren. They live in nearby Virginia, and that man made it possible, Cal Ripken.
Well, the extra seats were put on the field and sold for $5,000 apiece and donated to Johns Hopkins, and Bobby Bonilla purchased 2 of those seats.
You get to keep the seats. That's why he wanted to do it. Well, here's Cal. All he's done tonight is hit a home run in the 4th inning. He flared out his last time up in the 5th with the bases loaded. And he popped to the catcher in the 2nd. Homer number 325 came in the 4th inning to left field. An unbelievable moment. Mike James is the pitcher, the 4th California pitcher tonight. You work him inside, you get blues. It's the way it is.
Well, there were suggestions all around the league that although the pitchers were very tentative about pitching Cal inside, but that's where you have to pitch him. Now that the streak is all Cal's, I'll be a little more comfortable.
Just foul. Signaled by Al Clark down to 3rd, and what a treat it is for the umpires tonight. It's great to see the umpires standing and applauding along with everybody else. You just think that they're so stoic and just different, and hey, Al Clark told me it was as big as any. I mean, he was with us at the earthquake game at the World Series and visited the umpires before. It was the biggest thing he's ever done. Larry Barnett, home plate umpire, said the same thing. He, of course, has worked World Series. don't have a ball glance off your nose now.
Check swing. That ball just hit right at his feet and came up and kind of brushed up against the side of his face. Probably right in the end of the nose, it looked like.
2-2 is the count. Oh, good. Bunbury gets to make a play on a ball hit by Cal. That's fitting. And Bowl. And the Rookie of the Year, Al Bunbury. Like Cal, a former Rookie of the Year. Base hit, broken bat. Nothing phases him.
This ball right on the end of the bat, and that barrel goes flying toward the infield. Watch the concentration again. Looked like it was a breaking ball that he got right off the end of the bat. The bat explodes, but he's so strong he flares it into center field. 2 for 4 tonight here on Cal Ripken's night.
Harold Baines fouls it off, so 2 homers and 3 singles the last 2 nights for Cal Ripken. Unbelievable. Cal, of course, the tallest man. There have been others that height at 6'4", 220. Tallest man, looking taller to play shortstop. Grew up in nearby Aberdeen, Maryland. Had festivities there. They'll have a parade tomorrow in Baltimore for Cal, and they'll have another parade in Aberdeen tomorrow at supper time.
Well, he graduated from Aberdeen, same place that his father graduated, and Billy went there as well. He was a pitcher in high school.
Good one.
Struck out 17 in the state championship game. And he was concerned that nobody would consider him as an infielder. But it was the Orioles that drafted him, and
well, they had some inside reports. Did they not?
Feeling about his background.
.517 starting shortstops in the majors since Cal's streak began. And that got a smile. He obviously gets cable out there at the first. .340 have been on the DL this year alone during the streak, not to mention over 3,700 since the streak began on May 30th, 1982. And how about this? He's played in front of over 58 million fans during the streak. Wow. But you can go on and on and on. All these numbers are staggering. The foursome of Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, as Bain strikes out, Gwynn, Boggs, Mattingly, and Puckett. When the streak began, had 6 hits in the major leagues, all by Boggs. They now have close to 9,300, those 4 gentlemen. And we'll have more post-game. Cal will address the crowd. Joe DiMaggio really almost playing the role of Lou Gehrig tonight. I mean, that if you think about it. John Miller will preside. There you go. Joe and Frank back together.
Clipper and
number 20. Sawed-off shot by Boyles. Nice running grab by Edmonds, and Cal. And J.T. Snow may get one of the loudest ovations of the night.
Well, that's not going to get anybody's good side in that Angel dugout. They let one get away. Cal, I don't know what happened to him. He was all the way around second base when Edmonds made that catch. Watch Edmonds. He comes running in from his position in center.
Nice play.
Makes a running catch, and he looks up, and Cal Ripken is standing at second base. And somehow they let him get back to first. He's trying to hit that ball with the back of his head.
Unbelievable.
Always competing.
Unbelievable. Chuck Cottier told me a story, the bench coach of the Orioles. This was in a game, a big game earlier this year, and they were down a run or something. And Ripken hit a double. Brady Anderson was at first. I want to get the situation right. And there were runners at first and second, whatever it was. Rip came back in the dugout later and said, "You tell Brady I got the second before he got the third." This is like in a one-run game late, always competing.
He competes in everything. He competes taking ground balls during infield, taking batting practice.
Cottier also told me that there was an 11-2 game earlier this year, and about the 8th inning, and Regan sent Cottier down to see if 11-2 Orioles lead, if he'd like to come out. And I think we're in pretty good shape here, Cal. What do you think? Take a couple innings, and Cal said, "Wait a minute." He went over and took the lineup card, saw that he was hitting 5th. He goes, "You know, if we get a couple more runs this at bat, then I'll feel better about it." They're up 11-2 in the 8th. So batting 5th tonight. Not a lot of suspense that he would be in there tonight. Nor has there been for 13.5 seasons. Count is 2-2 on Jeff Houston. Cal at first, 2 out. Hit pretty well to left field. Garrett Anderson is a long run. Oh, he made that look nice and smooth to the young left fielder for the Angels. So Ripken is stranded at first. We are heading to the 9th inning. The Angels with their last shot. The Iron Man cometh to shortstop. This ESPN baseball special is brought to you by and welcome back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Jarvis Brown is a new right fielder going to replace Bobby Bonilla as the Orioles try and close it down on Cal Ripken night, a night that none of us will ever forget, a night that baseball will never forget. Certainly a night that Cal and his family, I don't know if they ever dreamed it was possible, but they certainly will never forget. And how high does this streak go, Buck? I mean, it obviously goes through this year.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to slow down. He continues to play very well. He's hit his 15th home run here tonight.
I mean, he has 2 more years on his contract, which he certainly will obligate. Yeah, that's another 162 plus 162. I mean, by the, this would be 2,500 if he doesn't miss a game the next couple of years. And as we said, he has hardly limped through this streak. My goodness, home run on all 3 nights of this homestand with the Angels at 2-1, 2-9, 2-1, 3-0, and 2-1, 3-1.
Not only 15 home runs, but he now has 72 ribbies. That's a pretty big number. This is his 122nd game of the year.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has had at least 70 RBIs every year since 1982. After the game, they'll clear the field. Cal, Joe DiMaggio, other dignitaries will address the crowd, will address you all at home. I know you don't want to, that remote control that we warned you to keep putting in the 5th inning? It's about time to kind of put that in the kitchen sink and just let it cool out for a while. Jesse Orozco trying to close this one down. The Orioles would go to 8 below 500, and that's been the bummer of the whole thing, that the streak did not propel them to games like we've seen the last 2 nights. And I'm sure that Machina, if he thought that they had let Cal down, of course they let themselves down, but yeah, I know that there's gnawing feeling in the Orioles that they part was not supposed to go this way for them as a team. It was supposed to go this way, as Snow is struck out by Orozco, who's faced 2 batters and struck them both out. Chili Davis and Jason Snow.
JT felt that ball was down. Barnett felt Orozco had made a good pitch. 2 up, 2 strikeouts for Orozco.
Yeah, next Wednesday, you and I will be in Cleveland. Talk about one great place to watch a game to another. Yankees in Cleveland, the early game next Wednesday on Wednesday Night Baseball. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez here to visit with the president tonight. Brooks Robinson, Earl Weaver, John Miller. It's been fun. Hope you all have enjoyed it at home. This is it's a treat for us at ESPN. If we may just get to tell a personal story for just a moment. This is the final day of the 16th year of ESPN. Tomorrow's our anniversary. We begin our 17th season tomorrow. As Orozco gets over there in time for the pitch from Palmeiro, and there's 1 out to go, but I can't think of a better way to end ESPN's most successful year in our 16-year history than tonight. We go roaring into year number 17 tomorrow. Glad we could bring this one to you.
21-31, and Cal Ripken hits a home run.
Spike Owen, the last Angel Hope. Everyone on their feet. Post-game ceremonies to follow. I'll give you, if you tune in late and you missed it, I'll give you a little taste of what happened here when the game became official, with the Orioles leading 3-1 after the top of the 5th inning. When the Angels are retired, or if and when they are. There's 1 strike on Spike Owen. So plenty more here to come from Memorial Park at Camden Yards. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez and our entire crew. It was a labor of love tonight, let me tell you. I'd be lying, Buck, if I said I didn't shed many a tear tonight. You saw me. And you too?
I couldn't talk. I'm glad we didn't have to.
Thank goodness we had 23 minutes to compose ourselves. Owen hits it to center. Brady Anderson there to corral it. And on Cal Ripken night, tonight he breaks Lou Gehrig's record and extends his consecutive game streak to 2,131. The Orioles on a home run by Ripken and a pair by Palmeiro and a home run by Bonilla have beaten the California Angels 4-2. The scriptwriter who was here last night was back here tonight. And what we saw here in between the 5th innings, between the top and the bottom, we're going to feel some more of that in a few moments. Our post-game ceremonies. And this is, in case you've forgotten, or in case you want to see it again, this was the moment the game became official. We'll be back with the post-game ceremonies from here at Camden Yards. Please don't go away. And welcome back to Baltimore Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The Cal Ripken post-game ceremonies coming up. And the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes. Captain Jim Maloney and the boys from Vienna, Virginia at the controls. We thank you. And we thank you for that message. And boy, the message was heard loud and clear tonight, Buck Martinez. And I mean, there were some thoughts that maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. The victory lap that Cal took was certainly not planned. the outpour and the warmth was certainly well-deserved and was planned by the fans. Not that they talked about it, they didn't have to. And he hits a home run in the 4th inning. Man, you don't write this stuff.
No, that's what he's all about. He has just had a phenomenal career, and you can see that's already the newspaper for tomorrow, the Sun. Cal stands alone. And they've got a big front page picture of Cal Ripken here tonight. And you know, that trip around the warning track to acknowledge all the fans was something that a couple of veteran players on his team, Rafael Palmeiro and Bobby Bonilla, got behind, and they kind of instigated it. And you can say what you want about the modern day player not having a sense of history, but both of those ball players right there knew how significant the moment was, and they wanted Cal to go out and show his gratitude to the loyal fans here in Baltimore that have been here year in and year out supporting this great Oriole tradition.
Well, I hope the inspiration that we felt last night and tonight will carry over more than just what a great couple of nights of watching games. Last night, when the magical number of 2,130 was unfurled, it hit Cal like a ton of bricks. And then he hit this ball like a ton of bricks in the 6th inning. Gone. Tonight, in the 4th inning. Gone. And then a half inning later, Lou Gehrig's record. Gone. Cal Ripken, Lou Gehrig, 2 gentlemen, one a Hall of Famer, one who will be, linked through history, through baseball numerology, and linked by stirring ceremonies. July 4, 39 for Gehrig, September 6, 95 for Ripken, and we've only just begun. Stay with us. All right, John. Rex Barney, the longtime PA announcer here at Baltimore, will get us in. I'm trying to listen to the words. They've redone the lyrics of Zager and Evans, of all people, in the year 2525. And turn it into a Cal streak song. I'm not sure if this is a relative of Terry Cashman or not, but that's what they've done. In the year, his streak might be 25-25 by the time he finishes his contract. Rex Barney is the longtime PA announcer in the press box. Of course, a man that pitched for the Brooklyn Dodgers for 10 years, pitched a no-hitter against the Giants in the Polo Grounds, September 9th, 1948. He is all Baltimore, and Rex will get us set for an evening that that just continues to cascade, and an evening we will continue to remember. Let's check in with Rex Barney.
Your attention, please. Once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to History in the Making. We have some exciting things in store, and to tell you all about them, please welcome Hall of Famer Chuck Thompson and the voice of the Orioles, John Miller.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody, and welcome to baseball's most historic evening. 21-31 finally, and now tonight we celebrate. But before Cal comes out, we'd like to bring out a few people to share in this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 1995 Orioles. We got them all out here? Everybody's here? Okay, then we have a couple of special guests that I would like to introduce at this time. First of all, the Orioles General Manager, Roland Heeman. And followed by Assistant Frank Robinson and Dr. Gene Boudin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you back to the beginning of the streak. Imagine yourself at Memorial Stadium on 33rd Street. It was May 30th, 1982. It was 82 degrees on a Sunday afternoon, and that would become game number 1. Batting first that day for the Orioles and playing center field, number 1, Al Bumbry. Batting second that day, back in town, second baseman, number 25, Rich Dowell. Here he is. Batting third and playing left field, number 37, Brother Lowe, John Lowenstein. Batting cleanup, the designated hitter. He was a great hitter. Number 29, Ken Singleton. Batting fifth, he was at first base. Number 10, the Crow, Terry Crowley. Batting sixth, he was playing right field. Number 15, Disco Dan Ford. Batting seventh, although he thought he should have been hitting higher, maybe third or fourth. The Orioles catcher, number 24, Rick Dempsey. Now, hitting ninth for the Orioles that day, playing shortstop, could not be with us tonight because he is managing a club in Japan. He was number 12, Len Sakata. Chuck? Ladies and gentlemen, on May 30th, 1982, he batted eighth and he played third base. Please welcome the new Major League consecutive games played record holder, one of the greatest players to play the game, Cal Ripken Jr., with his mother and his dad, Cal Sr. and Vi. Now, a couple of presentations to Cal. First, on behalf of Cal's teammates, the winningest pitcher in the major leagues, Oriole right-hander Mike Messina. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold everything. It looks like there's a problem with Cal being at third base. Earl Weaver, ladies and gentlemen, has a better idea. All right, now he's at short, just like Earl wanted all along. Nice move, Earl. The Earl of Baltimore, Earl Weaver. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Cal's 1995 teammates, again, here's the winningest pitcher in the major leagues, Mike Messina.
Thank you. I'm going to make this as short as I can. The team got together and got Cal a few things to help him fix up his house. Because we all know he's fixing up his house. Down the right field line, where the garage door, they're going to show it on the screen for you. We got him a solid mahogany pool table. The guys are scrambling because I caught them off guard. Here it comes. Everyone knows how competitive Cal is, so we got him a game he can compete with himself. And we also got something you can decorate the outside of with. The whole decoration thing, that's for competition. And this is to look at. It's a 2,131 pound landscaping stone with the numbers 2131 etched in the side. Now, we all know Cal's going to play a lot more games than 21-31. But on behalf of all his teammates, all the guys that have played with him before this, and all the guys going to play with him after this, we want to be able to look back at this night and remember it the way we're all going to remember it. A great night. Thank you.
Mike Messina. And now, to say a few words on behalf of Cal's 1995 Orioles teammates, here is Brady Anderson.
Thank you. For 14 years, Cal Ripken has played for the Orioles with skill, determination, and dedication. His inspiration has always been a love for the game, his teammates, and the devoted fans of Baltimore. The record which has been broken today speaks volumes about a man who never unduly focused on this achievement, but accomplished it through years of energy, incredible resources, and an unflagging passion for the sport. But fame is a dual-edged sword, and his is no exception. Incredible pressure has been placed on Cal as it became increasingly apparent that this achievement could be realized. In breaking this record, he surpasses the playing streak of Lou Gehrig, an exceptional baseball player so universally loved and admired that sentimentalists might have hoped it would remain untouched in deference to the man himself. Gehrig's haunting farewell speech at Yankee Stadium, his brilliant career, and his quiet courage leave a legacy of heroic proportion which will grace the game of baseball forever. I know Cal is honored to be in the company of such a legend, just as we know that each man's accomplishments and contributions enhance rather than diminish the others. For what finer tribute can one player give to another than his uncompromising excellence? We are thrilled to play beside him today, and we wish to thank Cal, our teammate, friend, and mentor, for enabling us to share this wonderful moment in time. We acknowledge his extraordinary performance in breaking this record, but we acknowledge as well his excellence throughout the 14 seasons. Cal, you've inspired many teammates, you have delighted millions of fans, you have given the nation uncountable memories. Your pride in and love for the game are at a level few others will ever reach. This day marks an historic occasion in baseball, and we warmly congratulate you on this achievement. Thank you, Cal.
Thank you very much, Brady. And just in case there's any doubt that
Ladies and gentlemen, Cal's going to speak, but first of all, you want to see this next gentleman. He was Gehrig's teammate, one of the greatest players ever to play the game. Here to honor Cal, the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio.
All right, I got my stuff here. I got a few notes, but I do want to say there's a beautiful monument to Lou Gehrig at Yankee Stadium that says, "A man, a gentleman, and a great ball player whose amazing record of 2,130 consecutive games should stand for all time." Well, that goes to prove even the greatest records are made to be broken. And wherever my former teammate, Lou Gehrig, is today, I'm sure he's tipping his cap to you, Cal Ripken. He's a one-in-a-million ball player who came along to break his record. And my congratulations to you, Cal. You certainly deserve this lasting tribute.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all waited for, probably the toughest part of the evening, for number 8, Cal Ripken, Jr.
When the game numbers changed during the 5th innings over the past several weeks, the fans in this ballpark responded incredibly. I'm not sure that my reactions showed how I really felt. I just didn't know what to do. Tonight, I want to make sure you know how I feel. As I grew up here, I not only had dreams of being a big league ball player, but also of being a Baltimore Oriole. As a boy and a fan, I know how passionate we feel about baseball and the Orioles here. And as a player, I have benefited from this passion. For all of your support over the years, I want to thank you, the fans of Baltimore, from the bottom of my heart. This is the greatest place to play. This year has been unbelievable. I've been cheered in ballparks all over the country. People not only showed me their kindness, but more importantly, they demonstrated their love of the game of baseball. I give my thanks to baseball fans everywhere. I also could express my gratitude to a number of individuals who have played a role in my life and my career. But if I try to mention them all, I might unintentionally miss someone and take more time than I should. There are, however, 4 people I want to thank specially. Let me start by thanking my dad. He inspired me with his commitment to the Oriole tradition and made me understand the importance of it. He not only taught me the fundamentals of the game of baseball, but also he taught me to play it the right way and to play it the Oriole way. From the very beginning, my dad let me know how important it was to be there for your team and to be counted on by your teammates. My mom. What can I say about my mom? She is an unbelievable person. She let my dad lead the way on the field, but she was there in every other way, leading and shaping the lives of our family off the field. She's the glue who held our lives together while we grew up, and she's always been my inspiration. Dad and Mom laid the foundation for my baseball career and for my life. And when I got to the big leagues, there was a man, Eddie Murray. Who showed me how to play this game day in and day out. I thank him for his example and for his friendship. I was lucky to have him as my teammate for the years we were together, and I congratulate him on the great achievement of 3,000 hits this year.